What is going on, Godcast family? My name is Walter with the Black Film Guild. We are a group of filmmakers and photographers, and we have a course for you. If you're interested in learning more about the technical aspects of filmmaking or photography, please go ahead and sign up. If you use the code link Godcast, you get 50% off, and this course is for photography and videography. We look forward to seeing you there.
So this is our first joint that we're doing exclusively the live on Patreon.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times, you know, we go on YouTube and then we have to make the live private afterwards so that we can do what we do and we chop it up and then put up blah, 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 blah. Well, to forget all of that, you know what I mean? We're going to do it live here on Patreon for our True Blue subscribers. And then we still continue to do what we've been doing on YouTube. We're going to chop it up and then put out the full episode later. But for those who want that premium experience, they're going to come on over here and they'll be able to participate in the lives as well as we're going to keep the live up.
Right.
So you will have the unedited live up, and you don't have to wait for no for all this other shit. So now real quick before we bring our guest on, because he was super prompt. He's actually he jumped in the earliest in any other guest has ever done.
He's like Terminator X.
Like he is super on point. But I have to shout out our Instagram patrons. Shout out to Black TV, Black Sunshine, Live in Love, krs-one, Charles Gandy, Andy Beasley, Sidewalk Publishing, Miss Ravioli. I think those are all the people that was due shout outs. And there you go. Shout out to you and welcome to the Patreon. Well, listen, with no further ado, I want to get my guest here up here. Well, real quick. You good, Godfrey? You good?
Man, made it. Good.
Life is good?
Hey, life is good, man. Life's good. I got to tell you about the Vlad shit. You know, we got to talk about
that. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about, whatever. Oh, well, this is a guest that I don't think he's gotten before, and I don't know if he can get him, but we got him tonight. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so proud to have this man on the show. I've been quoted as saying that this group is my favorite group, hip hop group of all time, with my favorite album. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back.
Yes,
lead frontman of Public Enemy, ladies and gentlemen, Chuck D.
Oh shit!
Yes.
What up? More. And you know, Godfrey, last time I was with Godfrey, he smacked me up for being late at his show.
SiriusXM.
You and Karen Hunter.
Yo, I got fired.
Really, Karen Hunter gave me the smackdown because Karen was like, look, all the years I've been trying to get you on, now you're going to show up for Roxanne, Shantae. I said, you know what, Karen, no offense, I had to pay my hip-hop rap dues.
That's right.
Lord, I got a long list, man, a long Zooms, Streamcast, YouTube, the battle of the systems. Lord Jamar reaches out. I got a line of 60, whatever. Lord Jamar moves up in the top 5. Got to pay the rap dues first.
Salutations. Salutations. Thank you, my brother.
Pay the rap dues first. Catch is mad. They like, yo, man, I've been trying to get you on since November COVID, but I mean.
Here's the thing. I've been trying to get with you since '89. Because if you think I didn't want to be on them records and all that type of you out of your mind. Okay, so I've been trying to get with you in my mind since then. Okay, so
played together some shows, man. We've engaged, man. You gave me a drop that I use religiously on my And You Don't Stop radio shows. I've been doing my shows 12 years, man. And that Lord Jamar drop pops up with you and Sadat. And I even got Pooh, which is really rare to get a drop from him.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm good. So when we rendezvous, man, it's nothing but love. I think the last time we all connected, we did some big barbecue hip hop joint at Rochester. So that was love.
Right.
So,
Well,
and Rod's my heart. And before we actually went into talking to what we was talking and setting up, you know, she always get a pass. We do the treacherous three of us, you know, the four of us. When Rod, just take your time. I got you, baby. But we were talking about this new book. This is International Women's Month.
right.
And of course, this is a new book by Clover Hope called 100+ Women Who Made Hip Hop the Motherlode. 140 pages, power pack. But once again, I ain't gonna beef about the effort because the effort is always the effort. It's a great book.
Right.
But don't get a 10 because some people get stripes and some people get 2-page, 3-page expose. No offense against Debbie Harry because I think she helped set it off a little bit, right? This ain't a smash Debbie Harry thing, but
right. But just a 2-page thing before a Rod Digger.
Yeah, Rod Digger a stripe and then give 2 pages to Debbie Harry and then 2 pages to Vita. I mean, no offense, but
wait, 2 pages to who?
Vita.
Vita?
Don't say who again. I'm just saying.
I remember Vita and Mr. Snack a lot over here. What are you reaching for, Snacky?
I'm not reaching for nothing.
I heard you reaching for something, Snacky.
No, moving around.
But it's dope. It's dope. Rise in here. She's but you know, I mean, you know, just a stripe of dedication in here, and it's 240 pages. So
that's why I think it all goes to sometimes the authenticity. And no offense to this author, I don't know who the author is, but
yeah, she tried Clover Hope, and
the authentic experience of the author. And if they view it in a way that in a mainstream type of way, they're going to present it to you in a mainstream type of way.
Right.
See, if you and I had written that book, you know what I mean? Certain people would have been accentuated or talked about that, you know, might not have been talked about in that book. And if they were, we might have exalted them higher than, because they meant more to us in our culture than they did to, let's just say, the pockets of, you know, the lining of somebody's pockets. You know what I'm saying?
He was the person, you know, and you know what? One thing
Sparky D in there. Is Sparky D in that motherfucker?
Sparky D is dedicated. I mean, I'm saying she gets a 9.5 on the book out of 10.
Okay.
And so I give it to her, and she took the effort in 2021 to have a book that stands strong throughout the whole 45 years. So I mean, I'm propping her. Of course, I got personal, you know, like damn, Rock could have, but you know, that happens with all art. And also, you know, books can't be this thick, especially when you got a less than paper reading public. Cats is reading off of screens.
Facts.
So now, you know, you could go 3-card money on a screen reader, and what they read yesterday could be gone tomorrow. That's the whole. Yeah. That's the whole fear of just the relying on screens to do all your reading because they put 3-card money on you. Here's another book. You know, Jeff Chang and my man Davey D Cook out of the Bay, and he finally came up with the Can't Stop, Don't Stop, but also it's called the Young Adult Edition. So I'm trying to figure out young adult versus old adult. Like, I mean, it's going to be a read. It's going to be a read. It reads the same way as Jeff Chang's book. So I heard that this is a new updated, edited, re-edited version for young adults. I don't know what young adult is. I mean, a lot of times I test young cats when they be telling me they young, and I'm like, well, you ain't 4. Age, don't be afraid to age up. This whole age down, it's like, man, it's all right to be like getting rid of the word young one letter at a time as you elevate forward, man. It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right.
So, Rod, you take your time. We all do it together. I'll catch up with Lord Jamar and Godfrey. They named the show off for you, Godfrey, right? No, I'm just kidding. You heard it before, though.
My name?
Yeah, no, I know you heard it before, like Godcast. That's a fly name. They named it off you, Godfrey.
No,
right?
he took.
I said,
I was like,
people
asked me to call it Godcast. I go, too late. Lord Jamar got that.
The Godfrey Godcast.
Yeah. I got fired from SiriusXM.
They hire people back. I mean, come on, man. It's a corporation. Man. How many times Stephen A. Smith get fired from ESPN? Every time Stephen A. Smith get fired, he gets a pay raise and they bring him back.
Hey,
understand that, man.
Hey, we from the days of Billy Martin. Remember Billy Martin?
Hell yeah.
That's the most hiredest back ass nigga I've ever seen in my life.
Yo, let me tell you. Let me tell you how Billy Martin figured in my life, Jamar. Up to then, right? Harry Allen, my good friend Harry Allen, we were getting Harry Allen's car, right? This is like the 80s. And he wouldn't move the car. So I'm like, dude, come on, man, let's move the car. Put your seatbelt on, Chuck. Put your seatbelt on. I'm like, so you clowning him, smacking the back of the head. You're Seventh-day Adventist or whatever, man. So he never cursed. We up there cursing the car. Yo, man, let's go. Put your seatbelt on. He would not move the car.
Put your seatbelt on.
So Billy Martin, I found out that Billy Martin was on his farm in upstate New York. They were drunk as hell in the car they was in, fell into a ditch like slow motion, boom, boom, boom. And they said Billy Martin died. I'm like, how, yo? He fell, the car rolled over in slow motion, he broke his neck. If he had a seatbelt on, he would have lived. And from that day, I kept being, I wore seatbelts.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Billy
I think
Martin.
Harry to this day, man. I see Harry, yo, man, thank you, man.
Right.
So, and Harry, thank you,
man. I was thinking about Billy Martin.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was, I know, man, I learned about Harry Allen from the album. Who was that dude?
Harry Allen was a comrade. We went to school together. And later, he was a photographer of hip hop when we was just mobile DJ Spectrum City on Long Island. We went to school together at Adelphi. Matter of fact, me and him hooked up in animation class. We had an animation class. And I'm an illustrator. As a matter of fact, he didn't even know I was black because he loved my comics strips and my illustrations at Adelphi. And so, I had, this white name that always like worked for me when I wanted a job and talked on the phone. Hello, it's Carlton right now. Yes. No, it never failed. It never failed, man. I'll be like, yes, I'll be there on Tuesday. Then they see me. It's like, I mean, you're that name.
You're not Carlton right now.
Never failed, man. I had 19 jobs between 16 and 26, man. Wow. I call you. My penmanship was perfect. Y'all was like, because you had to fill it out, man.
Right.
It looked brilliant.
You gotta be a white boy.
You got to.
Because when he said, "Don't believe the hype," I thought it was someone fucking around.
No. Harry is.
To finish the story, is like we met in animation class, and our first project, world famous Supreme Team, looking like a hobo. So I did the illustrations, and Harry did the shooting with his camera, tied it all together. The first time we got together was doing an animation project for the world famous Supreme Team, looking like a hobo for class, and we've been friends ever since. So I mean, that's how we first hooked up. He has a long storied history. I'm mad at him because he hasn't written his first book, but he's one of hip hop's first journalists. Wow. So I've been slapping him in the back of the head forever. So when he says, "Don't believe the hype," this was at a particular time where he said, we got to control the narrative and of what we do and not care what anybody else thinks. We could jack the media. We could overtake them.
Because you blew his ass up when he says, Harry Allen, I go into my media assassin. Like you had, God damn, like y'all had a media assassin. Like that to me was like genius. I was like, they got all bases covered.
But you know where it came from? That came from the fact that when I first came in the Def Jam system, this was 86, and the media picked Run and DMC and Houdini and LL apart on the Raising Hell concert, where they had the riots or cats is just turning cats over in Long Beach, the Crips and Bloods.
Right.
So the media just didn't get it, man. So they blamed it on rap music, man. They couldn't even get any further into the hood dynamic. I mean, it's spiders in Long Beach. Everybody's going to be there. So you got this faction and that faction. I mean, it's West Side Story, West Side for real, right? But they didn't go that far. Rap music must have did it. So I was like, I don't know if we're going to make it, but if I get to that level, I'm going at them, Bill Adler, who was the head publicist at Def Jam and Rush for so many years. And yeah, man, and that we made it our thing is like to go at cats, man. I said, you're not going to talk about rap music. You're not going to talk about black people without us having the last say so. And it was a wrestle, man. Sometimes we won, sometimes we lost, but we didn't, we wasn't going in not saying anything. And when everybody's writing and you got like a couple of writers and they got like 100, then they could really wrestle the narrative of what you are, and have everybody else call you something else that you don't call yourself. So that's even important to this day. Everybody's writing everything from everywhere, but who has the bottom say so on who you are and what you're not? We got to at least say what we ain't. And when we say what we are not, that means that gives you a good platform to go on and tell people what you think. I don't do that. Nah, that ain't my lane. That clarifies some open spaces for you to deal. So, yeah, Harry was very important for us to control our narrative in a very, very rough time to get your word out.
But it just made it feel very like Pantherish. Y'all already had that Panther-esque look about you with the berets and the way the S1Ws looked, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. We all come from that because, the Panthers were the thing that got me. I'm born in 1960, Flavor 59, Hank 58. So
did you hear about ministers of information and things like that? It reminded me of that type of feel.
They were our heroes, man. I mean, if you looked into all those things at that particular time, man, especially Jet and Ebony, they were the heroes and the villains at the same time. But one thing that they was educated, and we all went to this program that had Panthers and Cats from the Nation and just straight out rebel students, whether they black, white, or whatever. And we had summer camps with them on college campuses out in Long Island in 70 and 71 and 72. Matter of fact, I first met Eddie Murphy in 72 at summer camp at Delphi. I'm like, this guy keep running his mouth in the back seat of the bus, talking about jokes and boxing. That's all he talked about. Jokes and boxing. I tried to sit as far away from this dude as possible, man.
Like he was annoying as fuck, huh?
Damn.
As we knew each other getting older, he was always the cool dude. He was always the cool dude.
Hey, Midnight, if you don't shut the fuck up.
Murph was always the cool dude. Murph would go to the park, man,
names on the bus,
shoes and a nice outfit, man, and drive down there, man. So he wasn't like one of the dirty guys like us that call themselves playing ball all day but really can't play. But
let me ask you. I like to ask all my just everybody. When did you first get acquainted with hip hop, and then when did you transition into a participant?
76, 77.
Woo!
I like the tapes that were coming up out of Queens. I like the tapes that were coming up out of Brooklyn. The Bronx caught on a little bit later, but the tapes that were coming out of, Queens and Brooklyn and definitely Manhattan touched me a little bit. They say they sound a little bit like what WWRL was doing with Gary Bird and them.
Hold up, I need to rewind you just a little bit.
Rewind me a little bit.
Are you saying that the Bronx was actually after Queens and Brooklyn when it came to hip hop tapes?
No, it wasn't.
Or is that how you received it being in Long Island?
It wasn't hip hop. It was DJing. And DJing had a combination of everything. When you talked about hip hop that was coming from the Bronx, it was a different level younger. You know what I'm saying? The level older from them cats, especially in Brooklyn, man, they have big sound systems.
Like Flowers and all that you talking about.
Yeah, Flowers, Maboya, Plumber, all them, they were DJs, man. And you wasn't getting on the mic if you messed up the DJ game. So out of that whole thing, you peep DJ Jones up in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't even making tapes. You cats had to run up and with they just brand new cassette recorders and catch a little glimpse of that. But then also those older DJs, they would do like the college joints, and then they would also do the clubs. And if you 17, 18, and you a dude, a black dude, you ain't getting in them spots. And them cats start doing, M. Morton Hall, you know what I'm saying? Promoters like that. And they, you had to be a certain age. Of course, women, they like, women in at 17 and 16. Dudes, you had to be 21.
Speaking of women,
the Bronx, here you go, Rod Digger.
Hey, I couldn't miss this for the world.
Real quick.
We had big dialogue about.
Hey, listen, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it.
Show her the book.
We'll talk about it later. I'm just finishing my story up. That on Long Island, you had to go everywhere. You had to check everywhere out. And then also everybody came out to Long Island to the colleges and all the other spots. But the Bronx offered something that nobody had because it was park laden. It was younger, parks, and cats was going for it with a combination of all that stuff that was going on in Brooklyn. Your Herc is Jamaican, man.
Right.
But back in the day, Bronx is Puerto Ricans and Brooklyn is Jamaicans and Caribbeans, man, at the time in the 70s. So that Herc was a different cat in the Bronx than cats were in Brooklyn.
Right.
Cats in Brooklyn would be playing a lot of like calypso, merengue, disco. I mean, you listen to disco, that's the, boom, 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 Gamble and Huff. And they were just like, cats in Queens and Brooklyn were on the same type of thing. So they had their own thing going on.
I'm just thinking about the migratory aspect of it. Where
you know what?
You're in Long Island and I'm in Westchester. They reminds me of the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm closer to the Bronx, you're closer to Brooklyn and Queens. You see what I'm saying? So those styles are going to migrate in those type of ways. You did?
It's all New York City. And the thing about New York City, when you study Black music and culture, if you don't study migration, man, you're gonna miss half of it. You're gonna miss half our story if you don't even study who we are and how we move. And how we move is like, it ain't happening here, we moving there. That's Black people. You know what? We ain't staying around. We going over there. And what we taking over there is everything we about: food, clothes, culture, and even if we clashing, we're gonna make it mix. And New York is the epitome of inner city migration because of what? The transit system. You can go from every borough back in the day for like 50 cents,
$5
before that a nickel. So my great grandmother, when she moved up to Harlem, I asked her back before she lived to 100. I asked her back, what made you move to New York? She said, my sister already moved up here. We had to get up out of Jim Crow. It's like 9 brothers and sisters in Rockingham, North Carolina, break north, right? She had a job. She had a job where she had a spot in Harlem and she could get down to Lower Manhattan for a nickel. And then she said she worked there for 50 years for the hospital in a laundromat for 50 years. So the fact that you could move around and that they could put the population and elevate it up in buildings made it different from any other place. So along with that, music is popping everywhere at the same time. So hip hop in the 70s was no different, man. It's like, yeah, it's DJing. Yeah, it's hip hop. If a dude get on the mic, do the rapper go to the DJ or do the DJ go to the rapper? A DJ will cut your shit off if your shit is whack. Matter of fact, you're not even getting the mic. So a lot of hip hop didn't even spread its wings until the DJ said, you know what? All right. And if your shit is whack and you're going to try to play rough on it, then we just turn your shit down.
Back.
Bring that back.
I remember a lot of DJ hatred back in the day.
You know, East Stockley is known to put a fade on your ass if you whack on the mic. He put a fade on you like this, yo, and it goes on and on to the break. You already rolled another joint on.
Bring it back.
So when did you become a participant? When did you become a participant? What motivated you and said, you know what, I could do this shit?
I always wanted to be a fan. I just wanted to get, a girl and dance, man. That's it, man. So I'm going to college. My first year of college is 78, right? Now this is like in the middle of like, now you got this thing happening and hip hop starting to take place and Starsky and cats started to really kind of like really pop on tapes as well as the older cats like Eddie Chiba and DJ Hollywood. And then you got Flash and the Furious 4 and, cats starting to, get around. So college, we had DJs that came in and wanted to play everything and stuff, but 1979 was my next year in college, and all of a sudden, there was no.
And you're majoring in what? What do you major in?
Art, commercial art, design, and communication was my minor.
Nice.
I was a phenom. Copy. 79, I get kicked out of Adelphi. I was a phenom. School cartoonist, went there every day, never went to class, always go to the dorms, trying to hang out with the girls and all that stuff, right? So, matter of fact, I didn't really get
like some shit I would have been.
Yeah.
I didn't fail. I just got incompletes. I kept turning the paper up and down, thinking it changed. So the dean of students said that you said, yo, you are an enigma, man. I don't understand. You come to the campus, you're a popular person, you the school cartoonist, you do this, and your class and your majors, you're phenomenal, but you got to go up to class. But I'm gonna make you a deal. If you make up all these incompletes, I'll see if we reinstate you. I mean, it's a longer story than that. It's a book chapter, man. It's amazing. I get back in spring 1981, but in 1979, it's supposed to be my sophomore year. That's the craziest hip hop summer ever. One of the craziest. And before any record, the only record that came a little close where cats were smelling it like, was King Tim III. And King Tim III came out, and cats was like, whoa, that's the Fatback Band. And he rhyming. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it had some heat. Came out in April.
First joint I ever heard.
Yep. And I was like,
then I could say that's the first hip hop rap record that I know of.
In that term, because all you had to do is go back to 68 when I was coming up, and it was Here Come the Judge by Pig.
Well, that's my birth year, 68.
Well, Pig Markham had Here Come the Judge.
Here Come the Judge. Yeah.
And you mentioned Gary Bird and all of that.
So, fast story short, I mean, okay, we go there, 79, good times, killing all summer. We go to school. They got the Thursday night throwdowns once again at Adelphi. Everybody there from all the boroughs. It's at college, man. It's the jump off. I'm 19 years old, and all of a sudden they got a DJ called Larry T. Larry T's out in Freeport, right, Long Island. He's playing all the joints. Nice DJ, right? Love Is the Message comes on. What do you think happened? Larry T got an open mic. Cats start lining up around Larry T to spit. I'm trying to get my dance on, right? Cool. I go to all the parties and whatnot, and all it takes is a whack dude on the mic. And then the girl be like, well, I don't want to dance no more. And I'm staring at Larry too, like, why the fuck you get this mic to this?
Right.
And then Catch would line up, right? And then, yo, they still be online, and Larry T showing off his DJ skill. He got the open mic, right? Cats is taking their turns on it. Then he playing Good Times. Oh, Lord. There's more people that line up. So I'm like, yo, man, really? Seriously? You put another whack-ass motherfucker on the mic, man. I'm going to get up there and just shut these motherfuckers.
You know what? Give me this goddamn mic.
Let's go. Straight up, that's how I got on the mic. I got on the mic to shut motherfuckers off the mic. Because when I got on the mic, Cats was like, they were like, yo, the mic don't sound the same when he on it. But back then, it was like how you sounded.
Right.
Most systems were cheap. So if you had some, like, you had some 3-footer voice on there, man, you wasn't going to be heard.
And you got that hip-hop voice of God.
Yes.
That penetrates through the room.
Yo, I'm going to tell you straight up, and I don't brag about myself, but back then I could, because I was full of vinegar. If there's a line of 10 people, and I'm getting that mic like number like 2, 8 people sitting, they fuck on down. You just sitting down, dance like everybody else. And I go and dance, and my shit is straight. Nobody want to get on the mic after me.
But are you rhyming? And you see, you grab the mic, but are you rhyming? Are you rapping? And if
I'm rapping my ass off. Listen,
where's the rap coming from?
Hold on.
Let me tell you this much.
They
playing Good Times, Lord Jamar.
Didn't just materialize out of nowhere. You had them then.
Bro, listen. They playing Good Times. I'm rocking Good Times. The fuck out of Good Times.
Right.
Then the next week I'm rocking. It's expected I get on the mic. It's 400 people there, right? All of a sudden I hear what? Fucking voices behind me. So I'm like, what the fuck, right? Cats is already rocking to me. So I'm paralyzed, right? I'm like, damn, I'm hearing the voices behind me. Larry T goes, mixes this shit behind me. I hold on to the mic, but I don't say shit and let the voices do it. So after that shit, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Cats is going berserk, man. And changing voice. They was like Chuck changing voices and shit like that. I'm looking around, I saw this little red label said Sugar Hill. Shit. I was like, wow, they did that. They did that shit. Because before them, how you gonna do a rap record, man? It's like a rap is 3 hours, man. It's 4 hours. I mean, how you gonna get it down to like 5 minutes? Possible. Rap is the whole other thing, man.
Right.
You got it. 15 minutes. Remember, people were talking about how 15 minutes is long for a song. We were saying how they compressed it to 15 minutes. How you get 3 hours down to 15 minutes and have it go on and on to the break of dawn and you don't stop, keep on, right? And sure enough, the next day, because it was Thursday Night Throwdown, the next day, Frankie Crocker gets on and is like, WBLS, we got a new song out of Jersey, Sylvia Robinson's company. It's called Rappers Alike by the Sugar Hill Gang. That was 2 records that made up. It was LX Beats, not LX Beats, but Here Comes That Sound was like you know that break, Jamar, right? Cut it up. Here comes that sound. Here comes that sound. That's what the Sugar Hill Band did as the intro, and then they rock Good Time.
That wasn't really familiar.
That shit the next day, man. By that, so the next Thursday I come in, Cass is like, Chuck, you nice, but you ain't that nice. We were thinking that was you, bro. That's how I go back to my first times on the mic.
Oh, nice, but you not that.
Nobody knew that the DJ was sneaking a joint behind me, and that happened to be Rappers Delight. I was all right for a week. I was still nice, but I wasn't nicer than that fucking record going 15 minutes and the chicken tastes like wood and all that shit. So yeah, man. That's some real history for you, Godfrey. Was you born yet?
Y'all was around, man, because I remember memorizing.
I was 4 years old, bro.
What do you say?
You had to be 4 years old, bro.
Yeah, I memorized Rapper's Delight, I got the 7-minute version down. Then I challenged myself to get the 15-minute version down because they had, you know, the Sugar. When we bought the record, I grew up in Chicago, so we had the record and they had that Sugar Hill, that colorful, whatever, that blue label. And so I said, I'm gonna memorize the 7-minute. And I remember going to grade school. I was like, I got it down. Everyone's gonna go. So I was like, hip, huh. I was the first dude to memorize the whole goddamn thing. So I was around, man.
They looked at you like you was a space alien, man.
Hell yeah, I memorized the shit out of it.
Coincidentally, that's where Here Come the Judge comes from, where if you wanted to really lean on the first rap record, like spitting, you kind of listen to Here Come the Judge with Pig Meat Marker, man. They got beats, flow, you know.
It's true.
And did you know Minnie Riperton's on that record too?
No.
Minnie Riperton's on that record. Right now it says, I'll take 2 orders of beer, please. You know, she's the voice right there.
You know whose mama that is, right?
Yeah,
my own girl. Yeah,
Maya Rudolph. Maya Rudolph.
Yeah. I have a whole bunch of Kamala Harris roles on Saturday Night Live.
That's right. That's dope. I didn't know that. Well, is it true that in the song "It's Yours," it's the Beastie Boys yelling that stuff out? Do you like it? Yeah. Do you want it? That's Beastie Boys.
That's new for me, but I wouldn't be surprised.
In the background,
because people did the beat.
Yeah, you have to ask Jazzy J for that. But yeah, I remember when that record was fresh on the me and Hank and Keith went to the record store, and we were surprised that Streetwise was the label, but they put Def Jam on it, and then Jazzy J, and so Jazzy J automatically made it legit. We didn't know much about T. La Rock.
Right.
Anybody that sported a La Rock in their name,
right,
was authentic. You know, Jamar. I mean,
and T. La Rock, when he came out, to me, his whole style was like almost futuristic. Like he kind of showed a lot of people, like, hang on, I don't even necessarily. Some of this shit is not even rhyming. Like contemplating, illustrating,
just had a great voice,
giving adjective expert. Like, huh? Like, yo, that shit was like, so I was like, he was one of those MCs. Yeah. That song showed motherfuckers what rap could be on a other level, like on another dimension. He opened up with that song. Real quick, Digga, are you okay? How you feeling right now?
Digga,
I'm all right. I'm sitting here trying to maintain. I'm having terrible hay fever right now. I'm literally covered with rash, so I'm trying to find the coolest way to scratch and not look like a dope fiend. I say, yo, let me just pull it together. I just popped some Benadryl. I'm like, I gotta get in here with my guy. And thank you. If I never officially thanked you, by the way, thank you for blessing me with that outro for my joint, man. We have a record together, guys.
Hey, thank you for giving me that shot. Come on, Rashida. Yo, Rashida has so much bass in that lyric.
Digga, her name Rashida.
If you a dude, right, seriously, and you go up against that man, she bodying you, man.
Listen, we call her
like with an 8th grade voice.
We call her loud throat around here.
I have to turn my volume. I have to adjust my settings all the way down because I'm just.
When we first was getting the audio, on these streams, trying to get it right and mixing and matching and all of that, she had a very loud throat.
I have a very loud. That's like the running joke on the show. That I have a very loud. I'm loud throat.
Everybody in the comments is just loud throat, like loud throat. It was like, turn your throat down, Digga. Turn your throat down.
Born for the mic. Either you got it or you don't. That's another thing in show business.
Facts.
The old head would tell you.
Yeah.
You got it or you don't. You could come up with all kinds of tubes and studio tricks and wires hanging from the ceiling and consoles and all that shit. when you come down to bringing it on stage, you got to bring that same shit you got in your throat to that stage. And if you ain't got it, but see, it kind of don't matter through generations, because I think newer generations, and I'm speaking of the last three generations, they don't even care if you bring it or not. It's
right.
It's all the other. It's other things. It's like, this is what you call, we in the sight generation. It's what they see.
Right.
Right.
You look good doing it. And
yeah, they listen with their eyes. You can fool them easy by like saying, I'm gonna show you this, but I'm gonna say something in real small language, small print, and have you just fall for the fake. So when they talk deep fakes ain't based on what you hear. It's based on what you see.
Right.
And now it's they turn that old saying, like, believe half of what you hear. Now it's believe half of what you hear and none of what you see. Yo, man, let me tell you, artificial intelligence ain't never gonna get stupid. It's only gonna get smarter. And the more that you rely on this to be like your security blanket, means that you kind of by default becoming dumber, but you feel that you got this as your backup. So you got this attached to your head, your heart, your whatever, your hip. So you got this. As long as you're paying the bill, you keep the Wi-Fi, grid is still up, you got this. But artificial intelligence is only going to get smarter at 3-card money, bro. With a cat circling the outskirts, picking every pocket and brain and soul that it could. So that's what we have to be ready for. Real estate of the millennium is your mind and your soul. That's real estate. Currency is your age. That's the best currency. All this other shit, man, it's neither here nor you can find things that you suffice on to get you by day to day. This ain't necessarily, Bangladesh. You know what I'm saying? But what people will have deficiencies on is how do they wear against the radiation attack of the screens. And the screens is everything, man. Cats' lives on the screen. We on the screen with each other. We ain't physically kind of saw each other in a while, but we rely on the screens and the interface between us. Right. So get the most human out of us. That's why culture is a beautiful thing. Yeah, culture comes to the screen. Yeah, you can hear it. You have your senses touch with culture, but at least it can simulate this thing that brings us back to our humanity. And that's very important, especially the rest of this decade. And we only in 2021 with 9 years to go in this decade. So that's our head over water talk. Keep your nose over the water, because the line is going to be like this. And some cats is going to be like this. And some cats are going to be like this. Ain't nobody going to be like that. Nobody. You like this or you like that. And
speaking of good times, keeping your head above water.
Yeah. Taking a wave when you can.
Temporary layoff.
Good
time. Yo, I think that should be a new song, Chuck D. 3-Card Monty.
I can't do it. I can't be the one to do that. You got people who is a little more skillful and more knowledgeable to tell you what 3-Card Monty actually is. I never fucked with it. Right. I would see him from that corner from afar, like they play a 3-Card Monty. See that other guy circling.
You know what it is, but
I know what it is. But I know what a lot of things are. I just said, "Yup, that's not my lane. I just stay over here. That's cool. I see it. I know what it is. I stay in my lane." That's why I kind of defer myself to always pointing and say, that's young energy there. Young energy is the leadership. Me, I'm triple OG. So I think it come to me for guidance, maybe some direction, maybe some like pointers. I am not going to lead young energy. Young leaders lead young energy to make changes in the future of this world. Now, I'm there as a consigliere.
When you say young energy, it makes me think about, and also like knowing your lane and all that, it makes me think about the genius of Public Enemy. The way everybody had their lane, you know what I mean? Griff is the militant trainer of the S1Ws. To me, Flav was at that time young, street, wild energy.
He still is. He says hello today. I talked to him early today. He was switching through some airport. Always the young energy, and it's just like that's just him. He gonna ride out just like that. That's just what it is.
Just the way he talked, though, and just the way he was moving back then, he just remind me of like those really street dudes at the time. Like he was, you could just tell he was connected with the streets, and that helped give y'all a certain air of. I mean, y'all was authentic in so many ways, but that that helped ground y'all in a way. Like
everybody was who they was, man. Number one, ain't nobody. See, everybody was what they was. You ain't making no records though. I'm the only guy that's gonna probably be in vocalizing the record.
Right.
But I brought all Roosevelt with me. Me, Hank, we brought all we Roosevelt. You know, Roosevelt, Long Island. So
we had Keith on the show before. Keith was on the show. Shout out.
DJ forever, man. Him and Hank, I was on the mic. Flavor was this other phenomenon. It's like he used to do whack graffiti, and I brought Flavor in, you know, because he was on the end of, you know, every Griff was training cats.
Why did you bring him in? Why did you bring him in originally?
Well, we started working at the radio station at WBAU, and
he was just up there.
he would be getting clowned. Bill Stepney gave him a radio show. He was actually hanging out with Berserk and them, you know, Son of Berserk. And he was on the tail end. The first thing I told this guy when he came up to our studios, I said, "You can't smoke up here." Dude's got a black Jerry curl, black hat, black jacket, black jeans, black sneakers, black lips, black mustache, and a black keyboard. And a black pack of Players cigarettes on the first day Players came out. He scratched off Players and just had it all black. Blacked in with magic marker. So first thing I'm seeing, this dude's coming up with his cigarette. I said, "You can't smoke up here, dude. Go across the street, you know, get them Chinese chicken wings or something, but you can't do it here." But we started, you know, we all became close, and my dad we used to move furniture in the city, you know, rich folks furniture all throughout the tri-state area. We was a moving company and shit. And one day I should say, "Flav, you need a job. Well, you need to work with us. We move in furniture." So that's a real story. Me and Flavor through New York City switching the steering wheel on U-Haul trucks, moving furniture, him at the wheel and yelling at people while Howard Stern and Imus is on the radio. You can't get nothing else on AM. And so we built the kinship. So one time, you know, I'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna make some tapes for WBAU." He had his thing on BAU, and I did this thing, Public Enemy #1. And I said, "Yo, we just finished coming off of work." So I said, "I just need you to book in this. Do like James Brown and Bobby Bird. Just talk this shit. I need you to talk in the beginning. I'm a rhyme, and I need you to cap it off like James Brown and Bobby Bird." Shit caught fire. It was a tape for 2 years and stuff like that. And then so I was like, "Yo, man, we gonna do this together like that." And then that was the song that Rick Rubin wanted for years. I did it 1984. Just I
was that
tapes, you know. And the first one said I could go solo like a Sugar Ray Bolo, because that was the fight that Sugar Ray Leonard fought Roberto Duran and clowned him up in Montreal and did the bolo punch. Bow, you know? So that's how that went back. But this is a song that all the new Rush guys in Def Jam had just started 84 and said, "We got to get this dude." And I was like, "Nah, we got our own thing. We trying to do syndicated radio. We all trying to do a different thing. Y'all got your thing. We trying to have our thing." And for 2 years, I turned down Rick Rubin. And Rick said everybody. He said everybody trying to get pieces of our camp. He got Dre, the original concept, was the first signing out of there. And he did Pump That Bass, Acknowledge Me. That comes from our whole crew out there.
Acknowledge Me. Oh man, that was that shit.
So yeah, and then we we said in '86, let's say, okay, let's do this together. And that's when we dealt with Def Jam. We brought our kind of camp into that camp with a couple of, okay, let's do this. And I brought everybody with me. And that's how it was supposed to be. We always operated as a team, and the yin and the yang, and everybody was themselves and different, and everybody wasn't kumbaya with each other. Even to this day, it's just everybody is who they are. So it's never been but me, I was always a person like, I'm good with everybody. We can make this happen. Kumbaya, group hug, let's go forward. And I did that thing 29 years in a row, man. 29 years in a row.
I remember this buzz about Public Enemy, about that song, about Public Enemy #1. And I think My Uzi Weighs a Ton.
Yeah.
I feel like what years did those come out in? What year did that come out?
87.
87. So
those songs in 86. See, our album was supposed to come out in 86. Really, 86, our album was supposed to come out. But Def Jam had really seriously became a force with what? LL's first album, Radio, and then Beastie Boys, License to Ill. But the Beastie Boys are supposed to come out early on in 86. We supposed to come out in fall. I'm coming out with all kinds of things we did in 86, riding off of Raising Hell and all that. And then all of a sudden, we learned what a big system does. Bruce Springsteen was coming out. You know what that did in the system? That pushed the Beastie Boys all the way back to fall. They said, we don't give a fuck what this rap shit is. Bruce Springsteen is coming out on CBS. So y'all ain't coming out, Beastie Boys, in the summer. Def Jam, y'all coming out in fall. So what that happened, License to Ill comes out in October. We get pushed back into 1987. LL was had to do a follow-up. Me and Hank went to LL's house, saying, well, maybe we could work with LL's album. And then we also went to Ricky D's house, Slick Rick. We live right down the street from Chuck Chill Out, up in Brownswood. And we was like, say, okay, we could work with the system, but we got to see if we can sneak our album up in the middle of this while we working on other people's albums or whatnot. But long story short, yeah, we got pushed into 1987. So a lot of what we thought on Yo Bum Rush the Show was kind of outdated. Because back then, hip-hop rap was a singles medium. It's like we cut 1 week, that shit's out in the streets 4 weeks later. And that's how Independence was rocking. And that's why Rakim and KRS-One, they the Louis Armstrong and the Duke Ellington of hip-hop and rap music. Because everything changed after they vocals, man. And cats still haven't stopped rhyming like they instituted that in 86. They changed the whole game. Before you had to rhyme to the beat and race with the beat and keep up with the beat and keep up with the DJ. Rakim was like, nah, man, that beat's gonna move to me.
Right.
KRS-One made that. He made that declaration when he did Poetry. So those two dudes changed everything, man. Which, and we were fired. We were competitors. We were like, damn, man, the style we had in 86 would have roasted them in 86. But here we are, 87, and Rakim and KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions, and Scott LaRock, they changed everything.
Right. And I remember feeling like Yo Bum Rush the Show. I loved My Uzi Weighs a Ton. I love Public Enemy #1. And I love my 98 because that was my favorite car back then. Would you tell him that was the New York gangster car back then?
Well, the New York gangster car, if you didn't live in the four boroughs. The reason I say the four boroughs because you didn't need a car in Staten Island, really. You was in one little area. but you needed a car in Westchester. You needed a car in Queens, Nassau, definitely Suffolk, where buses stopped and trains didn't go that far. So you had to, not only did you need a car, you had to be able to put a car together and take it apart. And cats would get cars that were maybe 10 to 12, 15 years old and style them. And they would kit them out. Cats that really knew, or they would know somebody that kit them out. Put some things in a car that most people wouldn't put in a car. That's how we come to find out. That's how the whole rest of the country operated. But Westchester, Yonkers, and all those areas, New Rochelle. The reason I knew about those schools because they had the best basketball players in the damn fucking tri-state area, Mount Vernon.
Yep. New Rochelle, football, basketball. New Rochelle and Mount Vernon, we was killing them. Killing them. We still are. Like,
yeah. And also in hip hop too, because the Bronx had their thing, but so much traffic was going from the Bronx to Yonkers and New Rochelle that thing had just did some other shit. You know what I'm saying? In Long Island, like I said, our shit was more from Brooklyn and Queens being there, and then cats coming from the Bronx, but cats wasn't coming over the Throgs Neck and Whitestone to Long Island unless they went to the schools, the old Westburys, the Posts,
right,
the Astras, the Delphi, and you had to be a certain age. You wasn't 14 doing that. You had to be 18, 19.
Right, and I used to be going out there, you know what I mean, going to them type of parties, broads and all of that type of shit. But see, I remember, I was the little dude that, like when Pooh Bah was in Master of Ceremonies, I'm the guy that's going with him to the shows and shit like that. So I remember him taking me to some, like, I want to say it was like a CMJ music conference or something like that. And yo, everybody was talking about Public Enemy. Yo, you hear Public Enemy? And then finally they called me Public Enemy number. And I remember the first time hearing that, like, yo, just the beat was so genius to me because as a DJ, everybody knows that wow, 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 you know. But the way y'all fucking freak that shit, I was like, yo.
Well, you know what it gave for Jamar?
Next shit right here.
When
the way you rhymed on it,
but it was outdated.
But it was so hard. It was okay.
Let me give you the backstory of that. It was outdated in '84 when I did it. You see, Roosevelt Roller Rink was a spot where everybody came to back in the day, 70s, 80s, whatever. So the DJs would play everything. And usually after they playing, like, you know, couples, you know, they playing Peaches and Herb, Reunited and shit like that and all that. And they got, you know, everybody seeing the couples on there. Then they say, you know, like all skaters, right? And some of the DJs would be like, you know what, all skaters. So if you dolo, you a dude, you 15, 18, 17, 14. They start, all skaters. I
was a street ass nigga, too.
Go ahead. It's like, hide your girl. It's going down. Cats is doing, it's going to go monkey up in here. They would go. When that went, yo, cats is pushing people out of the way. It's rugby, man, right? But the DJs couldn't keep that beat long enough. It was like, and then they would go off to some other, you know, jam. And the way I said, and all the time in my mind, right, I said, they don't play this blow your head enough. Because cats you can't flash it, man. It's so quick. The break is so small. You can't, damn. I said, and so in my mind, I'm talking 78, 79, 80, 81, when rap records were like, I said, if somebody could just make that, and you didn't have the equipment to do that either.
Right.
So what I had done, it's like 83, I had pause taped it. And you could tell everybody what pause tape was.
Hell yeah.
I took the record and pause taped it. So it had about like 200 pauses. It had jumps in it and all. And I made it an instrumental after 2 days of pause taping it, right? So the day after we worked, me and Flavor worked. I said, I got it. I'm going to take an overdub with a mic on top of that, the 2 tape decks. Flav, come stay, knock this out with me. So the rhyming on top of it kept the jumps together. And cool. And that became a phenomenon. 84, 85, it became a legendary tape out there in Long Island. BAU and all that. When they wanted the song, we had to make the song all over again. Jamar, Godfrey, Rob. We had to make the song all over again. We was like, well, how the fuck do we make it when we made it rudimentary, like on like 2 tape decks?
Right.
And the dirt and the feel and because the original one was like, yo, man, like boom, 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 you know? So we went to Chung King and we tried to do it through an emulator. That, you know, emulator is what Davey DMX, you know, who's also with us now. He made famous, you know, with Curtis Blow, with AJ, you know, 1, 2, right. you know, AJ. That was done with an emulator, keyboard, and all that. But we tried to do Public Enemy #1. This shit just came out like kind of like boxy, like computerized and stuff like that. The great late Steve Ett, man, had done this technique from Adam Yauch, where he took like the loop of Blow Your Head, he pieced it together with editing and made it loop around a microphone stand around the whole room. So that's how we got that loop. We got that loop out of a real loop, like loop it around the microphone back into the studio and record that. So we was able to pull that off, but it was originally done in pause tape. So we did, and then you add all the changes to it. But Steve Ed helped really seriously keep the feel. And then I went in there and we rocked it. We added some other things to it and stuff like that. But that was the time, I think that was the only time something like that was ever done. Because nobody had the equipment, and you don't want to sound like computer, man. It had to keep the feel, it had to keep the dirt. And that's how we was able to do it. But that Blow Your Head story on how it was in my head. And I was like, because people would go bananas, but they couldn't keep the.
Now that you say it's a roller skating type of joint, I could see it, like
the
way the drums come in.
A roller skating type of joint to set you free after watching Love Skating for like 15 minutes and reunited and turn up the lights like 20 Pendergrass.
Fuck out my way, music. God damn it. Fuck out my way with that bullshit. I'm tired of that shit.
When I tell you, I would look at cats, you know, and I'm a badass skater too, right?
Oh yeah?
Yo, I'm a badass skater.
Me too, bro.
Badass, you know, like fuck around type shit. I mean, you know, I'm 60 now. I could do some tricks, but I'm saying back then, cats would be like horizontal in the air with the skates. Like where the fuck you gonna go, man? It's like a wall is there, man. You that happy on this beat? That's that. I mean, almost like when Drummer's Beat first came out. Me and Hank Shockley saw this young cat, man. Drummers, the first week Drummer's Beat came out. They played it on WFUV. And they played it on the radio, and they got the electric cat version. Hank said, look at this little boy over there. And this little boy had nowhere to go. It's a wall, man. He couldn't do nothing but run and jump on the wall. You could not take that energy of hip hop. You could, if you bottled it, you could send shit to Mars, man, because you can't explain it. You can't even explain like before that record, before the first record, before like I said, 1979, Meadowlands got the Superfest, and B-Boys is in the Meadowlands, man, in 1979, 3-stripe box, you know, baseball caps, like good time, good. I mean, come on, Jamal, you remember like Good Times is 79.
I started as a DJ. So,
you know what I'm saying? So when you explain this shit like in the 21st century, cats is stare at you like, huh?
Like just the feeling of cutting that, Catch Groove, all of those. Like so many joints.
It's like
break beat was hip hop at first. It was the break beat. Like you didn't even need nobody rhyming on the shit.
Right.
The DJ, and a break beat.
You wasn't rhyming on it unless you wasn't. If you bringing it and you able to switch gears. See that rhyming back then, you had to switch gears. Hell yeah, you got to switch gears. You going from 80 beats per minute. You going from catch a groove to I can't stop. If you can't bridge,
that used to be that shit too when they would go from break to break.
Yeah, if you can't bridge,
how you rhyming?
Get the fuck off the mic, man.
Right.
Get the fuck off the mic. You fucking my shit up. Now, if you could bridge it and you could shift your gears and you rhyming right, and you throw a little, you don't stop and boom, boom, and like you timing it up, and the cat is like, bam, bam, dun, 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 dun. You got to know when to stop and go or get the fuck off the mic. You couldn't ask for a convenient beat. Yeah, that beat right there. I want that one. Duh. It's like
right
out of here, man. It's like
how niggas be rejecting beats now, right? Like what? Rejecting?
Oh, they pass rejecting beats. They could tell the DJ they don't freestyle. They don't rhyme when they go to the radio.
You know what? Just watch it then. You spectator, sit your ass down.
That used to be like for my peer group, my generation coming up, like that used to be a thing, like worrying about or preparing what verse you was gonna spit. Like, all right, if I got radio, I know I'm gonna get put on the spot. Let me make sure I have two solid ready to go, and then you could switch them up however once you get there. But that was a thing, like preparing to rap when you were going to do radio.
Yep.
Now they just be like, I don't freestyle. They can just say that.
Well, you would know, Rob just said the fact, like Buster comes out of the camp of when cats used to get on and try to freestyle to the DJ. We used to have like mic battles where cat would be on there spitting, but the DJ still got the pitch control. So we would call them you ride the pony and get bucked. So cats be rhyming, they be spitting, and Keith would be throwing that fucking pitch up there like, all right, yeah, right, rhyme on that. You can't make the beat go to you, then you cut them. You fell off the bike. You fell off.
Or nowadays, the DJ will ask the artist, "So you want to rhyme? You got a verse to spit?" Like, when did they allow? Like, I wish they would have asked me. Like, I would have loved that. Said, "Oh, nah, I don't got a verse ready." Like you asking rappers, do they have verses ready? Like, huh? So, yeah, they different now.
And you know what? It should be different. I think it should be. To me, at 60 years old, you know what I'm saying? I want to be able to be like my man Isaiah Thomas is the basketball. See, Zeke could go and say, I'm gonna buy my ticket and sit and watch LeBron James, who's 35 years old, or watch Devin Booker, 25 years old, and I'm gonna watch the game. I'm gonna enjoy myself. Me, I want to be able to say, boom, I'm gonna sit my ass down, my old ass down, watch some shit. They gonna make me say, oh, what the fuck? That's what I want to see, because this is what I'm not gonna watch some jazz ensemble. You know what I'm saying? I love Motown and all that, but they all they move and transition on. The Four Tops got one living member left, so okay, I want to be able to sit down and watch somebody 22. I sit there, I'll give you 15 minutes, man. Fuck yeah. I want to sit there and be like, that shit was dope. What the fuck?
But you don't want to, but while you sitting back, you don't want to see the bar getting lowered so much to the point where it's like, this is what you call hip hop? Like, it's.
Rob, you remember when cats were making excuses like, well, my video is just too dope. So cats be expecting my video me to come out better than my video. I think you better bust your song and your video in the ass on that fucking stage. You got bust.
I know that's right.
Figure it out. Yeah, your video's dope. Now, when you get up in there, you better be like, that's what Buster would have the most craziest videos ever. But when you saw him, you know that he's got that shit. He's gonna out animate his video. You gotta the shit you put out there. You gotta nail your own.
Yeah, you have to match the energy on stage, and if you sound just like your record, you even better.
That's what it's all about. Somebody to sit there and fucking pay money and get your attention. I mean, or better yet, you know, these things are fantastic. That means if you shit up taxes, which is to me like to watch you too. But if they like this, that means they got better thing to do inside their screen than what you doing on the stage. Although the game, and I played, you know, what with Prophets of Rage, I played in front of 4 million people in 4 years, maybe, and you know, and now we in the era of the screens, meaning that until COVID canceled shit out, concerts were only getting bigger and bigger. They were getting bigger and bigger because of screen technology, which means they could put you in a big place, throw 5 screens up, and them shits look like your phone. Meaning that if you're sitting in a stadium like 469,000 B, you can listen like the shit's in your phone on buds, and you can watch it at the high, you know, definition.
Right.
And sit in that seat that's a mile away from the stage. To tell you how screens even affected performances all the way up to 2020, that cats in the first 2 rows is in their screens. They look at the screens more than the stage right in front of you.
Wow.
Which means if you're a lazy performer, the screens could be in your benefit. Like if you're a performer and your shit is just all right, it's to your benefit because all you gotta do is rock the cameras.
Right.
You rock the cameras, fuck the crowd. Rock the cameras, your ass ain't moving. You gonna stand there and try to fucking spit. Stay in one spot, rock the camera, and everybody else is gonna be rocked because the screens is gonna rock for you. We played. I'll tell you a short story. We played this spot, 60,000 people. Prophets of Rage, 9 Inch Nails. Now, you heard anything about 9 Inch Nails? Them motherfuckers take no fucking prisoners, right? They on that other shit too, right? You know, we come in like me, Be Real, you know, Lord, Rage Against the Machine. We like, fuck that. Tore the stage up. Crowd's like, okay, cool. 9 Inch Nails gets on. We in some deep France spot, right? It's like 60,000 people there. And they kind of like, on stage, they moving. Trent Reznor is like, you know, like on some, you know, I'm trying to get a gauge. I'm like, okay, you know, fucking
headlines.
Yeah, they headlines.
Right.
In reality, we whooped that ass in physicality, right?
Right.
What they did, they had their own film crew shooting that shit in black and white. They was rocking the cameras. So the screens was doing some other motherfucking shit, man. And I'm watching them. I'm like, what the fuck? But the screens are like, oh my God.
Right.
Motherfuckers is in a trance watching that shit. And so that's the technology when everybody still starts going back to concerts that you can realize it works in your favor, even if you're not a good performer.
Right.
Cameras, because every spot going to be screened out, whether it's a small spot or whether it's a big spot. We don't have to go and body a group of like Rod Digger did. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Bodying an artist on stage and shit, you know, giving 180%. And you know, there ain't no screens in there in the spot. They got screens saving everybody everywhere. That's the whole game and the rest of the 2020.
Oh, screens and auto tunes.
Right. And like you said, you can have where you got headphones where you can just hear the shit. You can be all the way in the back and hear it like you're right on the stage. So this motherfucker don't even have to project their voice anymore. You don't even have to use your loud throat anymore, digger. You know what I mean? You can just talk regular. They'll hear you because they'll have some sort of apparatus where everybody's Wi-Fi'd into the same thing. Like I went to some weirdo shit. Where was this?
They're doing album listeners like that. Everybody just parties are like that. Everybody just sitting around with headphones on.
Listen, I went to some weirdo shit a few years ago in Miami. The first time I seen this, where you go into the party, they're not playing the music out loud. Everybody got headphones.
Oh, it's the silent party.
Like 4 DJs.
Silent party.
And you know, each one got a color to their headphone, and you put on the headphones, and everybody's in there like rocking the
silent disco
and shit. And it's fucking weird as fuck. Like,
I've been to
was
one of
like,
those. That
what
motherfucker,
in
that shit
the
is weird as
fuck
shit.
is this? Like,
It's
but
the
that
silent
kind of
disco.
sounds like what you're talking about. Is that type of technology where we're going, where, you know, yeah, they could rock the shit and they don't have, there's a lot of shit they wouldn't have to do that we had to do as performers to really.
And the reason is like, you know, time moves forward. It don't really go back on anything. And so people ask, well, what's the difference between Fight the Power in '89 and right now? These cats ain't. I said the biggest difference is that it's 30 some odd years, and cats who was in the middle of the mix 30 years ago, some of them are no longer here. And new people have been born since the year 2000 who are 20 years old. They're in the middle of the mix now. So the concerns and the problems and the issues have to be actually manned up and womaned up by people who are in that age range. Look, in hip hop, we lost, my good friend Ecstasy in December, Marky D, like a couple weeks ago. Come on, man. Transitioning is the fact of life. People move on out. So you can't say, oh, damn, didn't we go through this before? Your old ass did. Yes, but new people got their own environment to try to tackle. And that's why we could be at best advising them, giving them maybe some directions if asked. But seriously, the shit that goes down, they got to deal with it as leaders. And they got to, shit, I tell somebody all the time when they use age as an excuse. I said, all right, how old are you? I'm 19. I said, it ain't like you 4. If you think you seriously young, if you got a younger brother and sister, go there and ask them if you young. Ask your 14-year-old sibling that you young and ain't got answers. They're gonna look at you like you old anyway. Age is relative, man.
Right.
But I do believe that, it's important to know what you're not. It's important to know your lane. Know your lane, man. We got bleeding in the lane to the point like, Scarface said it best. He said, yo, Chuck, I don't want to be part of, the cat that brings champagne in the fucking sandbox, man. It's like, strip pole in the goddamn seesaw. It's like, what?
Right.
Everything got its place, man. And sometimes it's like, yo, man, but that's yo, man. It's like I said, everything got its place because not everybody is ready for everything. So it got its own area that you got to go to. It ain't got to come to you. I said, like, I've been grown like 42 years, man. So I done seen everything and be an entertainer and be in 116 countries. I done seen or heard much of all shit. So when the cat's like, oh man, but I think I'm like, well, cool if it's in that corner, cool if it's in that circle, cool if it's in that strip club, cool. That's what this spot is for. Now you bringing the shit all out. It's like front lawn shit. It's like, what the fuck, man? It's like, do it gotta be? Well, everything is everything. Yeah, but no. The second best feeling to sex, I think, in life is taking a good bowel movement. Getting that shit out of you. Does that mean that you can just do it on a sidewalk? No. There's a place for it. Call a bathroom, a latrine. Go, that's the place for it.
Right.
It's natural. We got natural aspects about us.
Right.
Sometimes we got places for places, and we got places to do it. And to me, when you're growing, everything is, legal until you start mixing with kids and shit like that, man. And me, I'm very clear, man. It's like I got things, man. I'll be like, man, you under 40. I don't even want you around my shit right now, man. It's like I got too much explaining to do on this. I do a lot of art, and a lot of my art is just other type of art. You know what I'm saying? I can't be up there explaining art to a person that don't know art. When you are artists, you have 100% right to do whatever the fuck you want to do. When I make my art or when I do a song that I write, I'm only doing it for me. Now, of course, if I'm doing it with other people and we kind of do it, okay, it has a goal because everybody has what they want this thing to end up as. But as far as I'm writing for me. Now, where's my obligation? My obligation and my accountability and responsibility is in performance. If I'm going to be in front of a crowd that paid their money, going to spend their time and energy to check me out, I got to give them 200%. But I ain't got to give nobody 100% on my art. I could be like, man, I could make this a crazy ass Uber ride down a mountain slope. It's art. That's the artist's right. So I don't get into telling people what they should do with their art, because I sure enough ain't gonna have somebody tell me what to do with mine. Now, if I got to work with people, we come to an agreement. This is where this is gonna go. I always feel this sense of, to me, I write songs. I'm a songwriter. I'm gonna write what I feel. But if I gotta bend it and make everybody fit into this mold, then so be it. Cool. I can live with that. I'm a team player on that. But we got that moment. We ain't gonna have this moment, and because I have no expectations. My satisfaction after I write and do a song is in my heart. That's it.
I want to ask. Oh, Dan, you want to ask? I want to ask a question. I'm just curious. Like, when you were putting records out, did y'all like ever fear for your lives? Like, real life? Because I felt like a lot of your music, y'all were borderline exposing government secrets. Like, you were really putting people on to like the prison system and beware of the foods. Like, I feel like all of the things that the government was using to keep us down. I mean, even down to drugs. Night of the Living Bases. Like, you were schooling us to wisen up to what the powers that be were trying to do to us. Did y'all ever amongst yourselves feel like, wait, we could possibly be targets for assassination?
Cat's already out of the bag. I come through the era of R&B, the 80s, Reagan and Bush. The danger is in your own damn neighborhood at that time. Shit. The cocaine wars was running through in late 70s, early 80s. Early 80s, it was so much drugs and guns everywhere, and a mentality that just flipped, that we said, man, listen, we know that if the government's behind this, man, we're going to scream it out. Can't keep it no secret. Ain't about like, oh, yeah, by the way, we got a mission. We're going to pull some straight out undercover shit against the government. Nope. Yell as loud as you can. That's what you do. If you know truth, then scream truth. That's what saves you.
That's how I feel.
But you never like feared for your life, or just you never felt like
the first time I used fear, Rod Digger, was fear of a black planet. So I think if we ever had a word fear that came out of us, let it be known that first fear was prevalent. Fear of a black planet, and everything rolled from there. So you're not fearful when you say, well, this is a fact that they fear. And then you try to be clear after that.
Now,
and then we got culture. We got culture on our side always. It wasn't like we jumped in the middle of governments, because governments ain't no fucking joke, man. I ain't talking about the United States government. I'm talking about all of them, every single one of the governments. They got their thing. I played in front of governments, like they say, you know what? We want you to do the songs. You can't talk to the crowd. Okay? Even if you look at Nation of Islam, they said, number one, wherever you're at, you make sure that you pay attention to the law of where you live. But if you have a problem with the law, you learn the law. You learn the law to fight the law with the law. And and you got to do that collectively. You can't fucking fight the law and you don't know the law and shit like that, and it pulls the whammy on you and you don't expose it.
So is the law the power?
Yep. Is the law
fighting the power by knowing the law?
Of course, you better.
Let me ask you something. So, you say fear of a black planet. When you think of Public Enemy, you think of, black power. You think of black empowerment. Now we kind of experienced this too. How did it feel to have such a pro-black message But then when you go to your shows and you look out there, a lot of times it will be overwhelmingly white.
Yeah.
What ran through your mind? Like, what's going on here? Like, I didn't think they'd even be fucking with us like this.
Lord,
and they love us. Like,
Lord Jamar, you were brought up in a white county.
Absolutely.
Right? And we from Long Island, so we always knew where to go, who was where, how they acted. They didn't know how we were. So we knew that the minute you spark something that's real and truthful, they're gonna be attracted to it, especially their kids. I went to a white high school voluntarily from a black bus to the white high school to take a tech program. So I knew early on that I had the advantage that they didn't have. I knew everything about them. They knew nothing about me. So I could throw things out there that people are like, oh man, that's amazing that he's not like JJ from Good Times. I'm not you know what I'm saying? So I had the advantage. Black folks had advantages because white America didn't know the damn thing about us. And hip hop was something like, man, we know nothing about none of that. But it's exciting as fuck. Now we're gonna deliver it maybe in a little bit of a heavier dosage than LL and Ron, and we're gonna come a little bit with a little bit of an accountability clause. So it's not going to turn into the minstrel show. You're going to notice some things that are familiar, and you're going to get a lot of things that are unfamiliar. Our first tour was at the Beastie Boys. You want to talk about jumping in the fire?
Mm-hmm.
Beastie Boys were playing. They wasn't playing Boston.
Now, is that Yo Bum Rush the Show, or is that Nation of Millions?
Yo Bum Rush the Show. And let me tell you, they wasn't playing Boston. They playing Worcester. They wasn't playing. We played Philly, but they playing like Erie. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Beastie Boys did. They played all these areas that black rap never touched, and we opening up for them for about a month. And I saw that, and they seeing the S1s with Uzis and shit, and black power, and they were like, "What the fuck?"
I mean, you guys literally resemble the Black Panthers. That's why I'm just curious. You know, I know most people in that time looked at hip hop as like a fad, like something that wasn't gonna last. But you know, you guys really like came through looking like something else. And I
was at the Garden, Chuck. I was at the Garden for the Run DMC, LL Cool J, Houdini, Public Enemy. I was there. Y'all had the Uzis, and I wanted to be a fucking S1W in that moment.
Like you guys were coming through, like you could have been on Hoover's radar. Like to me, that's what your music felt like.
Wait. We were on the FBI list the first year.
That's what I'm saying.
I've been on the FBI list since '87 because, but the angle that they had to come at you like this is serious, not contraband, but it's propaganda, rhetoric, you know, it came through the portal of culture. We didn't see that coming. We kind of had all the movements coming through college. Look, the Panthers came through the universities. That caught them by, whoa, damn, whoa. The 70s, they already shut it off. New York was so powerful. The New York area was so powerful that the only way they could stop New York in the 70s was influx of drugs and guns, man. Because the minds were just too sharp, and the country already failed New York. We said, we ain't even gonna support y'all no more. Fuck New York, right? But the black minds around 75, 76, 77, it was like, and the most cats did at that time was like what? Weed, that was it. And cats were sharp in Newark. They were sharp in Harlem. They were sharp everywhere. The Bronx, man. It was like, yo, The only way they said we got to stop the cocaine wars happened. And I remember the cocaine wars because I ain't smoke, but cats around me smoke. And they would just like back then they call it get my reefer, get my bud, I'm good. Mm-hmm. They took weed off the streets, man, for like a year and a half. And there was a big rejection when, cats were like, running in this cat. They would try to hook us up with the dust. That with dust. But it gave cats bad results, man. It's like, so cats is like, but you know what? Friday night, want to get my bud, get my reefer, get my brew, whatever. Can't get the reefer. So cats would be like, nah, and got it. Shortage and shit. But take this shit. Cats will look at cocaine. That's just that Superfly shit. Fuck that. Fuck that. Because remember, cats in the mid-70s, we already seen our uncles and predecessors shooting shit up in their fucking arm.
Right.
And number one.
So you wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, wasn't going to do that. Because number one, this shit was nasty and ugly, and you ain't got to tell a kid to stay off drugs when you got an uncle like this and shit. I don't want to be that.
We'll take a Rudy too, because you seen, Superfly and all these type of niggas with the coke nails, shit like that, and they made it look fly, when they were sniffing coke and shit like that. So that's why niggas started fucking with coke.
But the reality, man, is that cats was nodding on stoops. They were fucking strapping their arms up. And then a lot of cats came back from Vietnam and they were going methadone clinics and weaning themselves off. So that shit was unsuccessful, man, in the mid-70s, cats. But when they took weed off the streets, I remember like yesterday, man, you couldn't find cats with a gun. I mean, not every dude with a gun.
Right.
That dude's a straight out thug. That motherfucker will rob you. He probably won't kill you, but he will rob you, man.
And there was only 2 guns you gonna find.
Only 2 guns.
A goddamn 38 and a shotgun.
A shotgun by somebody's father that was in the Korean
War. That was in the war. Yes, my grandfather was in the Korean War.
Maybe somebody got a 22. And even earlier times, you might even remember the times of the zip guns, because my pops would tell me about they niggas was making guns and shit, fucking zip guns.
He knew who had a motherfucking gun. And there was more than 5 of them in a small town. And if you happen to be in a small spot like Queens, there wasn't more than 15 real cats.
But at some point, Uzis, weighing tons, and Max, and
all of a sudden, man, the cocaine wars happened and they spread out. And the reason that they spread out, because a lot of the cats in the middle of that mix, they lived out in the fucking suburbs. They had their women and their families out like in Nassau County, Queens, Brooklyn, Westchester. You know what I'm saying? The further they got more in that game, they moved their people out, but the game followed them. And then the old heads or OGs at the time, either they got caught up in the new game, jail, eliminated by young cats wanting that money. So it was a mess in 78, 79, really a mess in 79, 80, 81, because anything went. But one thing we knew that was happening, guns and drugs. Guns was were everywhere, and drugs was harder in everywhere. And it came through the social thing first. Like, you want to do cocaine because it's affluent. It's the goes with the best looking sound and caviar and coke. But they flipped that motherfucking game so quick, man. They flipped that shit into the little monster. And by 80, 83, 84, into 82, that little monster, man. So going through that period, seriously. And this is New York metropolitan area. Seeing that shit spread out the rest of the 80s, Detroit, Chicago, all they were doing, they were like clapping back late. Like St. Louis, you start seeing the shit happen in 89. That shit happened in 82 in New York. That's how records also spread. Oh, that shit was hot in New York in 82. They getting hot like 2 years later on the same record. You know what I'm saying? Well, the drug game even was just like that. The drug game was like, yeah, this shit was hot there before motherfuckers it wiped out so many motherfuckers that's the new ones coming up was like, I'm not fucking with being a crackhead. And how old are you? 10 years old. And my uncle's a crackhead. Fuck crack. Because I ain't trying to be like that. The same way we looked at cats shooting shit in their arm. But we knew that was going to be a time period, and was a time period that we can explain certain things to the rest of the country and the rest of the world. That's a game, and it's also a game that's exacerbated by the government to try to stop the movement of black energy, black brains. You know what I mean? Black folks, man, in the middle of the 70s, we were moving on shit and dancing at the same fucking time. And that drug fucking game and Reagan and Bush in the 80s, man, that fucking 12-year period from 78 to 1990, you want to talk about COINTELPRO? You ain't got to read about COINTELPRO for 69 and 68. The layer of COINTELPRO from 78 to 1990, we still ain't recovered from. Because that was the first period where a young head would look at an OG like, fuck you, old nigga. Once you got that shit going on, man, it ain't, you know, you gotta let the shit be like on some kind of Pacific island when the volcano explodes and this shit just wipes everything out, and then you start seeing little blades of greenery pop out through the lava and shit like a month later. It's like that shit gotta happen.
Like you really just made me.
That's how hip hop feels like right now.
I don't know if our generation was the first, because maybe it happened with the dope fiends too. But I just remember like it was people that you would look up to, like these were street gods. Like these were like, and I'm not talking 5%. I'm just mean people that we looked up to on the street, and then they fell victim to crack to the point where they fucking begging you for money type of shit. And you just like, get the fuck out of here. Like you treating them like a piece of shit when you used to look up to them, and it took away a part of your innocence, maybe. Like, you know what I mean? Like because somebody that I looked up to is now like this broken and this beneath me.
Even the women, like some of the you know, the women that like men were just aspiring to get with, like now you can get them in the alley for $1, $5. Like it's I witnessed a lot of it firsthand.
And it was the lure. It was the lure of people saying, okay, you know what? I ain't got what I want. I'm broke. Fuck that. You know, at least I got myself. But I want to party. I want to have a good time. My brew, my weed, boom, boom, boom. That was the thing. Was like, boom. We were good with that. And they said, you know what? We're gonna still get them. So when cats first was doing coke or whatever, you know, they still had it in the mix and got their party on, have a good time, man.
Right.
They're not trying to fuck nothing up. They're just like, I just want to feel better, you know. And if anything about a drug, the drug takes you to another motherfucking place where it is utopia. The problem is it's coming back to this motherfucker. And they found a way to fuck around and manipulate that shit and throw money up in there to a demographic, a culture, a community that seriously money never was the god. I was coming up in a time, man, you couldn't buy a cat off. They'd be like, nigga, I don't want your money.
Right.
Cats would be like, you know, their jewelry would be like, they went into a fucking wood shop and took a fork and bit the motherfucker like, yeah, nigga.
The red, black, and green medallion. Yeah. It wasn't about
riding with a damn record player, right? 45 backwards on a fucking Stingray, man. Fucking genius, man. Backwards on a Stingray, genius. Big afro. 18, 19 years old. Nigga, I don't want your fucking money. I'm the shit. I'm gonna take your girl too, and they would just take your girl just with their game. They just game. They just had game, super game. That's what the drugs and the guns did. They said we got to stop this black people super because they just mentally they out of this world, man. They're fucking overshine.
Our resilience is like none other. Yeah, even still to this day.
To this day, it's like so. We knew that, we saw that, and And you know, it was one of the things that, okay, well, Public Enemy, number one, we had the commonality to go on attack. We attack, you know, our enemy ain't gonna be, you know, the cat we see that look like me. No, our enemy is gonna be this fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna say this thing is our fucking enemy. And if you loving and hugging this thing, I'm not gonna stop your embrace, but we're gonna keep attacking this motherfucking thing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, years later, just a couple of years later, seeing that a brand Nubian is attacking this thing. You're not attacking people for they caught up in their shit, they caught up with their addiction, they caught up with their stress. No, you're not attacking that. You're attacking that fucking thing that was infiltrated, that animal injected into us. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was, man. And of course, we had all the real things that happened with us as a community on the move, as a group on the move. Yeah, I don't like you on this day. You don't like me on this day. But we riding together. We're going to do this shit. You're going to accept him for being that. You're going to accept him for being that. If there is a problem is when we have the thing where we don't accept each other. You know what I'm saying? And one or two might go up. But you know what? With Chuck D, and Cass will tell you this, it ain't never been a door policy. I don't keep a door. It's bigger than an open door. There ain't no door.
He said there ain't no door.
No fucking door. You can step right back right here. It's like, well, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Even like, you know, like the shit last year with Flavor. It got to a point where I said, dude, I'm going to have to sit you out away from me if you continue to think about this person or that person. See, I don't do that no more. I don't get in the middle of people's problems with each other. I did that for like 30 some odd years trying to be motherfucking Teresa. I don't do that no more. And I'm like, yo, when I turned 60, the bell went ding.
Yeah.
Fight's over.
Trying to preserve myself. Right.
I'm here. Get your shit together. We be this. I ain't gonna go. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here for you. But if y'all I'm not gonna step in the middle of your conversation with each other. I said, but that's cool. That's cool. That's just, before I used to be that way. No, come on, man. This is, I learned that from my father, my father was a Superman, a leader, a king amongst men, And I learned it. He says, you work with human beings, men and women in the highest esteem. You salute them. You salute their efforts. You commend them. It ain't based on what they do, their status or their money. Everybody going to the same place. I learned that from my father. And my father is a father of many men. Excuse me?
Do you get your voice from your father?
Oh, no question. Yeah. Me and my brother, man. Yeah. My father is the strongest voice I ever heard in my life. When we used to have Martin Luther King playing on the radio in the house, Martin Luther King's voice was a step down. Martin Luther King and ringing as a shit. My father be like calling my brother. He yelled my brother's name. Roosevelt 1 square mile town, right? My father be at the top. You see Eric? He yell, Eric, right? So you couldn't lie because my father be like, yo, Eric, you didn't hear me call you? You couldn't be like, nah, I didn't. The cats didn't have headphones and shit like that back in the day.
Brooklyn heard me. What are you talking about?
Everybody heard. Yeah, everybody heard you. So yeah. See, my brother, he'll take the punishment. Me, I don't want to fuck. So that's
you started calling him back. They'd be like, Chucky. He'd be like,
oh, trust me. The way you said it is just like he would say it too. You know what? Give me a beat. Just don't yell at me.
Okay.
I would like to ask you about the record by the time I get to Arizona. So, my understanding of it is Arizona is the last state in America that refused to acknowledge Martin Luther King birthday as a national federal holiday. So you guys assumed the mantle and said, by the time I get to Arizona, if his birthday is not recognized federally as a holiday, we are not performing. Now, This is all factual, right? What I'm saying? Am I understanding that correctly?
It's totally factual. But, you know, I mean, performance, Digga, it's like people are taking leaving. I'm like, who gives a fuck? You know, I mean, we playing with YouTube, playing with stadiums. Everybody wanted to kind of see what one of the opening groups for YouTube. There's 83,000 people there. So I felt when we went into Arizona, we could make a statement that day. It says, you know what, people want to see us, but you know we can't do this. And we just I played the by the time I get to Arizona, we hung the Klansmen and we was out. I was happy. I had early, but you know, but you know, like you could push the buttons if you got the visibility. We had the visibility. You make a statement, you keep it moving. Our job is not to look for results. That's what I tell people all the time. You do your thing. The minute you start looking for results, metrics, analytics, data, followers, the minute you start to look for these things, man, you out of your box, man. You out of that box of God, man. You dealing with something else that's breadcrumbing you to some other thing, looking for results. Your job is to do the job and keep it moving, man. Our job as artists, do our art, keep it moving, man. Make changes, boom, go at it, man. Matter of fact, to get to GOAT status, you got to go at it. GOATIT. Go at it. Boom, you know? And that's what we saw it as a topic. And look, as an artist,
I think that's one of the dopest hip hop fun facts ever.
Well, I'm just saying, as a rhymer and an artist, you need a topic. You can't say the same shit all the goddamn time about the same thing. A topic.
Oh, they figuring out a way to do that. But I know.
A lot of times people come out and they look for a topic. So the easy, lowest hanging fruit is drama at somebody that looks just like them. And I know that's the sport of it, but. You know, I think if you're doing 12 joints or 10 joints, you could pick one or two for something to do something else. One of the most greatest, if you want to put a tag on it, he was like, oh, conscious political rap or whatever you want to use that term comes from somewhere else. But I ain't afraid of that terminology, if you want to call it that. Too Short. Too Short, the year he did the Ghetto off the Donnie Hathaway record. Yo, man, I look at Short all the time. I said, damn, God, I wish I wrote that record. Everybody, and think about rappers, MCs, hip hop cats, all of them are brilliant, man. And the minute that somebody say that, yeah, man, I'm the most criminal MC ever. It's like, you're not no criminal, dog. Stop. Yeah, it's a good, fantastic stage act. But we know motherfuckers, man, who really do that thing. And they look at their lives as being like, yo, man, I could be gone any minute, but this is the shit I do. Get the fuck about the way. It's going down. Niggas is going to get this. Yo, man, people don't even have to look for. All you got to do is make a friend with an OD that's been doing a long ass bid. All you got to do is go in the prison industrial complex and ask some OGs and ask some cats midline. Because the OGs, you not being an OG in a prison and you're not being a new cat in the prison, you're going to have more status than an OG. Nah, you coming in, you green, you're a rookie, the weight that you say you carry in got limited weight coming on. It is a law and there is an order underneath the bowels of law and order of the prison. There's a law and order of those incarcerated that will seriously school you to knowledge, wisdoms, understanding the sciences, the brutal, the this, the that, and whatever. And that's when you are humbled down to your bare fucking essence, your minimums. And so you got to make your minimums your maximums. And your maximums is here and here. That's what's going to fucking save you. Intelligence will save you in the boardroom, in school, and definitely is going to save your ass in lockdown. You can't come up here spewing some shit your first day of lockdown and you're going to spew off and go freestyle. Nah, We don't get 90% of the stories from inside. That is a problem. That is not education. 90% of the stories from the inside will definitely clarify some of the outside. Those are some of the best teachers that need to be heard. Those are some of the best teachers that can teach some sort of malehood to those without. Yeah, they might have to be arranged and tapered and figured out or whatever, but for that to be silenced and to be like just on just a cutout for the last 40 years, that's the map to our demise. That cutout has been terrible. In 1970, there was 100,000 black men in prison. 1970, Judas and the Black Messiah era. Now the numbers. And even the numbers are coming down because they realize that, okay, look, technology says that you could be anywhere. We already fucking got you DNA chipped anyway, so what the fuck?
Right.
Then you got all this, the madness where the descendants, the grandchildren, are setting up fucking gigantic cannabis plants. And telling somebody, oh, I don't think you're qualified. You were qualified. I served fucking 22 years fucking Coxsackie and
right.
Fucking Plattsburgh and Attica and Comstock and what the fuck? Yeah. One day I was part of Jim Brown's program, went all through fucking Jersey. Jim Brown's I Can program. Right. Went in the prisons in Jersey, all the way up from areas that you live in Uppsala and all that shit, all the way down the Camden area, man. I didn't know it was so many prisons in. I knew about New York because of relatives in there.
Right.
But it was like,
that's crazy in Jersey.
Gigantic spread out places in Jersey all day.
Mm-hmm.
So this detachment of detaching us from the diaspora and detaching us from where we are populated under the bars and bowels of the system, that's COINTELPRO.
Mm-hmm.
That's COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO is when you see people, you know, like, man, I don't fuck with them Caribbean niggas. It's like, what? Okay, that's COINTELPRO. So, I mean,
we are incarcerated is for minor drug offenses. Now they're decriminalizing weed and they get to have all the dispensaries and we got
they punished us for.
And they're unqualified to work at these distilleries. Let me check your background. Oh, you incarcerated. Back in you served 2 prison sentences.
Selling weed. Yeah. Selling weed. You're not qualified.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you know,
I got 30 years experience. If I had 30 years experience in some shit, you would think I'd be an expert, motherfucker.
What Public Enemy did was we didn't make, and the whole key is like some people threw the thing and was like, oh, Public Enemy coming in, so I got to be on my best behavior and hide my bag and just be straight. No, we never did that. That's what Flavor was there. We all dope. We doing fucking music. We rap music. We the bottom of the musical barrel and shit. We bastards of music, man. Matter of fact, you come to play like, bro, you play with us, man. Like,
I was about to say we did Smoking Grooves together. Do you remember that show where after Flip Mode had did our set, I called myself just coming to check y'all set out. The rest of the guys had already went off to do what they do after shows, but I wanted to come see this Public Enemy set.
Oh yeah, what's that?
What you know, whatever it is you gentlemen folk like to do with the fanfare at shows.
Dimes.
I have no idea. Rick pulled me on stage to freestyle. I'm like, huh?
Why not? The beat is right. You ride Digga, you know?
No, that was great though. I'm like, me get the freestyle on a Public Enemy set and away we go.
Yeah. I think what we need, what we also look, we're culturalists. We're in culture. We're gonna make sure that somebody gonna feel like they having a good time. We from party people. Let's get it together. We all right. Public Enemy might be a little bit like the security at the door, but we still at the party.
Right.
It's the jump off in here. When you start talking about people with quote unquote boring positions in our community, we got to pay attention that they are doing the job of poor righteous teachers. They are teaching. They are fucking doing the garbage shit. They, you know, we pass this for the school board. We make no light of scholarship, and that's why I think kind of went kind of crazy over the last 20 years. It's like we exalt culture, but we kind of like downplay intelligence and scholarship. See, the difference between scholarship and just a smart motherfucker that read what they want is that scholars got to read all the shit that we don't want to read. They put in time with their brain and the ugly ass shit that they got to read the good, bad, and the ugly and process that shit and interpret that shit and then teach the shit and weed it out just like you eating fish, but you take the fucking bones out and they give you what's edible, man. That's what a scholar does. But if you say scholars don't mean shit and nigga, you went to this school, we think a big fucking deal because you got a fucking PhD. I got a PhD too from Phoenix fucking Kroger fucking supermarket online shit. Ain't the same fucking shit, man. We cannot, I'm saying that it's one thing to exalt it, but you can't disregard scholarship. I went to college and school to be a designer who recognized that I don't want to do architectural design. Why? I didn't want to be perfect. Let a motherfucker design some shit in a building and let that shit be one stress beam off. Building coming down. Hundreds dead. You know what I'm saying? Then the people like, what's the design? These are the shit that people don't pay attention to.
And they're in code. You got codes you got to deal with. Shit got to be this far from there.
It's much off.
And all this. Yeah.
This much off. Shit is fucked up. Let one step, right? Look at the last time you paid attention to a staircase. Let one step be off.
Right. You'll break somebody's fucking ankle.
Yep. Break your face. You don't even know if you're on a staircase and the front is chipped out. And if you don't know that staircase, you going up, oh, boom.
Right.
Off. These are all the things in society, man, that like we were once a great part of, and somehow, you know, that shit is just that. And then at the same time, they keep franchising you anyway. So let's make no light of scholarship. Like I saw one of your shows, Jamar, with you and Umar John was going, you know, talking about school. And you were saying your father-in-law already built school. Your father-in-law is not looking for fanfare. He's looking to process levels to be able to go out and be kind of sufficient to recognize levels and build and teach levels. I like what Umar is doing too. Everybody has their place and everybody has their roles. You know, we can have less conflict at each other, I feel, at those levels, but those levels going to come because there's already conflicts in governments, there's conflicts in people and places and stuff like that. But dialogue, and when it comes down to building us, you know, let it not be just game. You know what I'm saying? Let's not like any scholarship that actually figures out how to go through the bullshit and also process the great shit for seeds to grow is a great thing for us to keep recognizing. And the same thing with tenure. Let us make no light of tenure. Everybody on this Blastcast, on the Godcast, has tenure in what you've done, time that you've put in, things that should be recognized, and not all with the self-promotion, but we could do more about exalting somebody across. And that's why I like to do online. I like to spend most of my time praising the efforts. So even if somebody is doing something I don't necessarily don't agree with, but I give them props and fuck it, they doing their thing and it looks like it could build. It's cool, it's great, you know. And when things are destructive, if it's coming from us, I kind of leave it alone. If it's coming from society, I kind of could go at it. That's my license to go at it and some kind of protection. So that's Chuck D in a nutshell. I
feel what you say by that. Like even though like sometimes I see the fuckery of our own, but I always feel some type of way about like calling us out loud. Like I would much rather get us, you know, behind the scenes, like, yo, come on, you shamming, right? Like, come on, let's even, like, I always, because I feel like when you do that, you give the others ammo, or you know, you provide them with the sound bites to tear you down. So it's like I see a lot of things, you know, amongst our community that I would love to speak on. Like I see a lot of people I would love to call out, but there's always a part of me that, you know, that doesn't want to do that out loud in front of people. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why a collective always is helpful, because everybody has something. Well, I know everybody has something to say because now they all air it. And before 30 years ago, everybody couldn't air it. They had to take it and suck it up and go home and you know, kind of air it out in their own shower and shit, whatever. But listen, I did Vlad because I would see Lord Jamar on Vlad. So I said, well, shit, Lord Jamar doing Vlad. I could go on there once. I've already told Vlad for 10 years. I said, you know, number one, Vlad, if I got something to say, I necessarily could say it. I don't need a platform and shit like that. I create my own technologies and stuff like that. But you know what? It's a key time. That it was last year, COVID. It's a good time to talk. And he knows that if I do say something, it will be maybe 10 years or 5 years later. But I would send him notes all the time and said, you don't have the license to come out with the fuckery and air as a fuckery. If you're going to assume being a gatekeeper of culture, you got to balance your shit out. I ain't telling you what to do with your shit, but at the same time, you're not going to get me on there adding to the fuckery and you being unaccountable to the brilliance that we had. So we made some sort of, you know, quiet, you know, not a truce, but like, dude, you got to shine the light. I mean, everybody's going and setting up this shit, saying whatever they want to say on social media, but you, in order for me to even acknowledge you, you got to fucking show some greatness we got. And he would, every once in a while, he'd send me a link like, okay, I'm with that. Cool.
That's funny.
Cool, what you got to do. So I
only did Vlad because of Jamar. It was you.
Listen, we were, you know, me, Godfrey, and I'm gonna pull Godfrey in now to this.
You ain't said nothing. No, this is Godfrey
and I were.
You was talking. We listened to you.
We were trying to bring a little.
I didn't want to interrupt you, bro.
He like, come on, we busted. Come on, Godfrey.
Listen, let's not make this the clickbait moment that all of a sudden, yeah, we gonna go in on Vlad to get clicks and baits.
No. Tell him. Okay, Jamar's gonna explain. Go ahead.
Oh well, just recently, well, you had some.
Me? I want me to explain my shit?
Yeah, I guess. Go ahead.
Okay. With this Meghan Markle shit that came out, right? Whatever. So I did something in 2018. I was talking about Meghan Markle on Vlad, just because I went on Vlad just to talk shit, get numbers, and I never like was dogging people. I was just talking shit on there. And so
2018.
What do you say?
It's 2018 you talk about.
Yeah. And this is so I'm talking about Meghan Markle, and somebody sent me like 3 days ago the video of me saying, man, you called it out. Meghan Markle was on some bullshit. You said she was gonna have a baby real quick. She looks unhappy. So all the shit I was saying about Meghan Markle, people were coming down on me. It ended up being true. So I said, let me post that shit. I'm gonna repost that shit on my thing. I said, yeah, that's perfect. So I reposted it, right? So I'm getting hits. Bow, 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 bow. It's in a couple hours, I'm at 70,000 views. I go to sleep. I wake back up and it says, your video has been blocked. And then it goes, look down for the reason. Vlad TV has said you're the only one that can see this. No longer can people view this. Oh. See, we reason why me and Lord Jamar, because he lied on Minister Farrakhan. He made a statement that was not true about Minister Farrakhan. And so what's funny is when that happened, I had already done during COVID, a new video for Vlad, right? Not knowing what he said to D.L. Hughley about Farrakhan. So I get bum rushed. Elijah Farrakhan sent me a DM. Royce the 5'9", all these FOI, like, brother. So what you gonna do, brother? I said, what are you talking about? Vlad calls me that day, goes, hey man, are we cool? Are we cool? Are we cool? I said, what? He said, are we cool? I just want to know if we're cool. I said, what you mean we're cool? I just did your video. He goes, no, I just, there's just some bullshit going on. I just wanted to see if we were cool. I said, yeah. I don't know that Vlad had just said some shit. And then I started getting messages. Hey man, you gonna coon for this motherfucker? You gonna be cooning and shit? You gonna be tapping? Fuck that. I said, what the fuck is going on? And then I find out, I go, let me see what the fuck this dude said. So he lied on Farrakhan because Farrakhan did that speech on July 4th. Remember the speech he did?
Yeah.
And he said that, made the statement that Farrakhan said, throw rocks at Jews, and he never said that. I always, I used to go to.
He said, hit him with the rock of truth.
Rock of truth. It was metaphoric. And
right.
I know, and I've been to Savior's Day. I'm from Chicago. I used to go see him at the mosque.
Vlad he said, hit Jews with rocks.
Yeah, he just told D.L. Hughley, and D.L. Hughley had to go, He said, yeah, I don't like him because he said throw rocks at Jews. I go, And Vlad is not a practicing Jewish man. He's an atheist. See? So I'm like, yeah. So that happened. And so when did you get, and I called you, right? Didn't I call you on?
Me?
No, Lord Jamar, I called you, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And I said, so what do you want to do? I said, let's call this motherfucker because he owes us an apology because he got mad at Nick Cannon for saying what he said. So I said, let's call him. And what did he say?
To apologize to Farrakhan. He refused to do it. He said he wasn't going to be bullied into it. Yeah. And, if we didn't want to fuck with him anymore, that's fine. Like, you know what I mean? But
Lord Jamar,
his principles.
What Vlad did was lose two guys and two brothers who actually could come close to the line and deal with some actual truths, and people could get something out of it. If you don't have
to bring some balance to the fucking.
If he doesn't get people like yourself, then all of a sudden it turns into that other thing. And when I told him, I said, you don't want to become that other thing. Already you're encroaching on the peripheral of fuckery and something that could be looked as legit. All right? But you on the line. And once you take your legitimate folks away, I mean, I'm here, I saw Lord Jamar on here, so I could do a day with you, Vlad. You all right with me? Because I'm a firm believer that you're a slave to what you say and an owner to what you don't say. So before you might have 20 questions lined up. I've done more interviews than any artist over the last 30 years. Why? Because I embrace the fucking concept to speak for the genre. Then you got the socio-political shit.
Yeah, you're an official gatekeeper.
PE.
That.
Take the shit on, and I take that shit on like Oprah give interviews. I'm the motherfucker. Boom. So, but that's me. There's gonna be other people who feel that they want to be able to express themselves. They want to feel like, okay, I'm doing an interview and I'm gonna spill my guts out there. I said, so you got to be careful to handle this nitroglycerin with a plum, because you can kind of just fuck a lot of different balances up by just being irresponsible, like most media is when it covers black folks and black media. We are a little closer to what's said about us, because even though it might be mainstream saying more black things now and commercials and the United Colors of Better Time and all this shit going on, we still clamor on the things that are said about us a little bit close to the vest, but it ain't a lot out across the world about us that's positive.
Right.
You're treading in that fucking water, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to know the difference between when this fucking swamp shit is at your knee and when it's fucking at your neck and over your head. And you need navigators to help you with that. So in order for you to get legitimacy and to keep doing your thing and making a living for being somewhere in the area of trust media, even when you deal with fuckery. Because we'll hear some fuckery. Our conditions are used to fucking dancing with fuckery. And we even used to kind of dance, dancing with the abuse of fuckery. But you cannot go in there as the abuser, further abusing, and also just thinking that you got a card carrier that's going to slide downhill with our demise, man. You can't do that. Be right, man. Be right. Be right. Be right. That's what I say. Be right.
Be right.
Be right, kids.
Facts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's when I saw that I said, losing Godfrey and Lord Jamar out of the Vlad picture, knocked some of the balance off. It's like Chuck D without Flavor Flav. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a different thing. It's a different,
But here I am on the Godcast show. And that's what it is, man. Like, you're an owner to what you say. I mean, you're an owner to what you think and a slave to what you do say. So if the cat got 25 questions lined up for me, my whole thing is like, I want to do this cat in 40 minutes. And he got 25 questions. I'm going to allow him to ask me 5. I'm going to answer 10 by just the conversation. Then I'm going to move it to where I want to take it. And then I'm gonna be up out of there. But that's some fucking mastery shit that I worked on to not fucking, because if I get my fucking mouth in trouble, fucking just the Titanic, man.
Right.
Cats is fucking goggling fucking iceberg chips and fucking man. And it's like, oh, Chuck did this shit. But everybody around me has the platitude to do their thing, man. They do their thing. I'm the motherfucker like, yeah, man, boom, boom, boom. Come back to me if you fucking get your shit in swamp water. Come back and see me, man. I'm your life preserver on this.
Real
I'm
quick.
I'm not saying I'm good at this, but I'm damn good at what I do, talking about what I do. So, and I keep it. My lane is rap music, hip hop,
Not good.
culture,
You good,
black migration, diaspora, culture. So I keep that shit. Once we start getting into other areas, religions and governments and shit, like that, we have experts who've been out there studying for, like a Dr. John Hendrick Clark, man. He read books until he was blind. Not only read, because reading is just yelling out fucking words. Comprehension, processing, being able to take that and move it into another form to inspire and motivate people.
Understanding.
Conversation. When I listen to a minister Farrakhan, I'm processing as he already is processing what he is teaching and speaking. Am I following him from a religious standpoint or from a social? Maybe all 4 or 5 things. What can I do with what this man's wisdom is saying to me to process it in my life around my circle or whatever? Like, that's what I mean. A lot of the time, you have a lot of people that might be on a rostrum or a government stand. You have to process them as a listener and as a mind on what you can pull away from that. And what you can pull, and like I said, it's like eating fish. You know, you eat what's edible and throw the bones away.
You got your radio station, right?
Yeah, it's rap station, 10 station channels that get into diversity and break down rap music and hip hop. And we're going to go into really expounding upon our app. Myself and Gianna Gorell, great sister. I used to do my Air America on the Real shows with years ago. We're going to do a show called What I Say. And all we're going to do is just highlight great things that are happening in rap music and hip hop. And people are doing great things on the web, you know, like a directory or like what Talk Soup used to do when it was on. They will just talk about soap operas or whatever. We're going to highlight great things that happen on the web, but with our own app and technology. Because I tell people this, if I had to break down technology in the online world, I have to tell you like this. It's like social media or sock exploitation, it's great, but you borrow those spaces. Social media is like having an apartment. Don't store all your content in a social media platform because if the building go down, your shit burning up with it. Followers follow the apps. They don't necessarily follow you, which is like back in the day that people say, I sold X amount of records. No, Def Jam sold those records. You happen to be the artist at the particular time. They sold those records. You made those records. They sold them. That little lady in the accounting room, a sales department, selling 4 items over to Skokie, Illinois, and also down in whatever. That's selling in the old way that they used to do it. So I tell people, yeah, social media, we use these things. It's it's your apartment. Get your .net, your .com, your .org, because that's like having your house. That's your real estate. Like the United States, you don't really own the land. You just own the house. You pay taxes on that land until they tell your ass you can't be on that land no more. But at least it's a place that you store your content. An app is like having a condo. It's attached to your real estate. You own your application. It's another place where you can store your content. Social media is a place for it flying. It can fly and fly and die, whatever, man. So the YouTubes, the Zooms, the Streamcasts, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook, and all these places are there to be used. And it's like, you know,
get your own shit.
Get your own shit. Use all these things. It's like your app is like the airplane. When your airplane lands, your airplane lands on your .net, your .org, or whatever, and that's your airport. And I should say that the planes that leave are the other applications. Your airport is your .com apps or whatever. Boom! This plane is going over to Facebook. This plane is going over to Instagram. This plane is going over to YouTube. Make sure they all land at your airport. That's why I try to make it simple for creators and curators. You know, the average person is going to be like, I'm not making no website. I ain't got no content. I'm just going on to check it. And a lot of times people are like, well, I want to put and present where the people are at. And the people are going to always be at where they're going to be at. But that doesn't mean you can't use the same things that they use. Just make sure that you've got your real estate as well as in these other places, because they're all temporary. They're all temporary until they go into the next level of charging you. And then that's when the game is really going to get crazier, when the charging and the fees and stuff like that. So it's a good time. It's a good time, and we could all be better. So I have Rap Station. We're going to air out our app. Our app is doing well. But none of our stuff is based on metrics and analytics and data. We don't give a fuck if 5 people come versus 105,000. It's just like this is going to be.
Right.
And and we're good with that. So, and our job and our purpose, I got to break out about 15 minutes because I am
I was gonna say we've been more than patient with
our job and our purpose is to promote artists, whether they hip hop gods, meaning you got a 15-year career or longer. You know, before it was a big deal, 15-year career, like in the year 2000. Now you got guys like damn, they're like 15-year career, like Lil Wayne. He's like an OG now. So, you know, but hip hop gods, we got a whole station dedicated to women. And we play a lot of Rod Digger on She Movement Radio. Got to get a drop and music for Krista Monique. She curates that 24 hours a day. It's popping. We give charts. You know, Planet Earth, Planet Rap is the most fascinating station we have because it covers the hip hop world. So the hip hop world is bigger than the United States, and in different languages they curate that top 20. We got all 24-hour hip hop instrumental station that won't get your ass fired at your job and shit. So producers make beats. This is what I don't understand. Producers make a lot of beats. Sometimes waiting for a fucking rapper is just like will stagnate your growth. We say be like a jazz cat, man. More beat albums like what Pete Rock does and stuff.
Right.
I mean, and then an older head, or sometimes you don't even want the wrong motherfucker to be on that beat.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. This is 2021. Cats is like, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say. Why it's a serious, hip hop is a serious discussion, and we got to always acknowledge New York in that picture. And I say this to say that, and when I mean New York metropolitan area, that means Jersey, New York, Connecticut, that fucking radius. And the minute that the radio station out of New York faded out, that means it was you in Pottstown or some other fucking place.
Right.
No disrespect, but it is what it is. New York. The reason why New York is like Memphis is to the blues and New Orleans and St. Louis. You can't go there and say, I revise for fucking blues. No matter how much you can mimic it or play it, or I can almost get like Bobby Blue Bland. Yeah, cool. Great fucking mimicking and shit, or reenactment and shit. Great imitation. It's not a duplication. New York is because cats in New York been rhyming since the 70s, man. Not to say they in the industry, but cats did that shit, man. They fucking spit, and they must say, you know what? I spit, and then I did some other shit. I grew up, man, and did this shit at 1985. But in that little area, 1980 and 83, I was a rough motherfucker, man. Right? Cats know ingrained. They might be 57 years old. You come across with some other shit, cats is like, I don't know what the fuck that is. You gotta honor that. You gotta honor those cats, man. Males and females. They would fuck when they first picked up the mic, man. You could not help but to stare at these motherfuckers. You know what the fuck they was doing. They touched the mics and they made you go like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but yeah, I can't describe it. I need that shit. That essence, man, is what it's sprouted all over the planet. But that essence, man, has to honor those people, man.
Real quick, before you get out of here, who your top 5, Chuck?
My top 5 is my top 5. Like they was asking Dr. J about they asking Dr. J about his top 5, and new cats got all twisted because he ain't named Jordan or LeBron. This is Dr. J. He says,
I don't expect you to. Shit.
Dr. J's top 5. Dr. J said he named it Elgin Baylor, Wilt, Bill Russell.
As he should.
I'm gonna say the first motherfucker that made me like I don't know how he's doing that shit. is the Wilt Chamberlain of spitters, rappers, and that's Melly Mel. Melly Mel was the MC that the second MC was the furthest from. He was like, Melly Mel was here, the second MC was Mo D at the time, and the second MC is here. He had so much of an advantage over the next dude that picked up the mic. It was like, and I'm telling you, like Kaz and all those guys is dope. But Mel was like, he just said shit on the mic you never heard before. Like, well, I didn't know you could do that. Even when
he was a superstar back then, he was a star. Like,
I'm like saying, and even when he was like, I mean, like on super rapping and the records, like it's like, whoa. And then he's talking about like the last verses of the message when swung like a mate pad. Like, what the fuck? Then Rakim.
Yeah.
Okay.
First dude that made the beat go to him. Like, I'm not rhyming to the beat. The beat moved into me. I'm like, that shit never was done before.
Word.
Never was. It's like, what the? He making this shit go to him. The most feared rapper ever is krs-one. Dude walks in the room. But seriously, if he said, yo, who want to spit? I'm telling you, man, to this motherfucking day in 2021, motherfuckers ain't saying, yeah, me. Okay. He's the only dude I ever seen with, the only MC ever do to see to change the complexion in the room of MCs. Cass is like, I don't know, I drive for UPS, man. I don't ride.
Yo, Kumo D said the exact same thing. He said KRS-One was the only rapper that I know that had other rappers straight changing their professions. He said those exact same words. He walk in the room like, yo, who won the battle? Who? You rhyme? You rhyme? And people straight like, nah, I don't nah, I don't rap.
Not a good cue, sir.
Then when you get into the areas of 4 and 5, you get in the areas of 4 and 5. I mean, I got a list of 100.
Right.
Mo D is the person that the year he starts putting out report cards, I was happy I just made the list and shit.
And number 5 is anybody. That's what I always say.
Q.
Okay.
Q. Here's the thing is like, let's get down here. And the Jay-Z, and this is the thing that the Jay-Z being eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? How the fuck LL Cool J not in there as our first soloist?
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like if basketball looked at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and said, you just scored because of skyhooks and you just say you played for fucking 40 years, but it's like, so we're gonna put in like Zion. It's like, how the fuck? I mean, because I have to go to the moment that the motherfucker came in. The moment that LL Cool J came in, you never seen nothing like that before.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
I need a beat. Was some other shit.
Some other shit. I mean, I said there was a 7-year period that LL, he was a dual whipping, man. He could fucking bring that shit down on a love
slow jam. Yep.
Rock the fucking bells. So I played with the man and been on stage with the man. And the same thing, like I said, Cube, people look at Cube and say, well, he does TV or Big 3 basketball. Cube is the first dude that fucking connected the rest of the fucking country into respecting. Before NWA was NWA, Cube was that motor that made that shit fucking work.
Right.
Cube is the reason that every other place, people talk about 3 Stacks with Andre, my man Face, all that. Cube is the dude that the first dude, and I remember, I was one of the producers on America's Most Wanted. I knew the fucking
Another one of my favorite albums.
Yeah.
I knew the barricade that this dude had to hurdle. I was with those guys when NWA played the Apollo, man, and Apollo handed them their asses, man. I was downstairs. I said, you just got to do that in New York. New York, especially in this building, they're going to hand you your ass. That's lesson one. Come back and knock them the fuck out. Well, NWA didn't come back. Ice Cube came back and tore that motherfucking Apollo down. And I tell you, and the most skilled MC, which puts that tie in at 4 or 5, to me, Big Daddy Kane. That's a personal thing. Why? Because
that's a great top 5.
Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah.
Most skilled rapper. Why? Because power and speed. Power and speed. And moving at the same time.
Force. Yeah. He was something else.
Man,
you get tired watching.
G-Rap was my favorite lyrically, but something about Kane, like Kane was straight doing like magic tricks.
Yo, it's
yeah.
And then Kane is not standing still either. He moving.
Right.
So and Jay-Z was the first dude I seen came along that would do like 3-card money with rhymes and shit. He'd be like this and bringing this in and taking this away, and you're like, wow, it's like, oh. But also saw the Hard Knock Life tour that he headlined, and trust me, DMX helped turn his coal into a diamond, because DMX is probably, to me, the one MC I seen that had no fucking props but a fucking rusty ass fucking chain around his neck and a bucket of water, and was fucking handed to
DMX right now will go into he can go into an arena right now and have everybody on their feet right now.
Man, I seen the Hard Knock Life tour, man, and I'm telling you, it was fearful. It had to be called the fire, and you know, and this Jay-Z, man, in like the beginning, Hard Knock, like all that shit. And I'm like saying, man, can we call a fire? And all DMX had was a chain around
DMX in his prime, baby.
He had a chain around his neck with a bucket of water, no smoke. I'm like, this motherfucker got no price. And he
by himself. I always was impressed with that too. Like no hype man. Something about the artist with no hype man is like, you know.
I'm saying this
here
is a problem. So instead of the top 5, I'll get the top 10. The person I could hear read the fucking news, best voice to me,
Rod Digger.
Method Man.
Oh, I'm like Rod Digger.
Rod, you up there. You definitely, you in like best top, you know, and I'm not going to be fucking sexist by saying the best female voices. No, best voices, period. You can't copy your voices. You know? Rashida.
I'm trying to imagine Method Man saying the news.
Man, Method Man can read the Bible, man.
Yeah, that's true. It's real shit.
Method Man, man, I don't give a fuck what Method Man is rhyming about. And the big, you know, was part of the Red Man too, and all the Wu guys and shit. Method Man, to me, man, is like when, yo, man, that motherfucker can read the fucking daily news, man, and I'm like, yo, this dude is just dope.
Yeah.
So like a lot of my, you know, the MCs is, you know, I mean, Brother Ali is a dude to me who catches the gospel when he rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Brother Ali rhymes from deep inside shit, and it goes out. So I can get into more obscure lists. I got a top 50 and a top 100.
Be happy.
Yeah,
and they all interchange, and I do top 10
right.
Stuff like that. So when cats ask me who I'm listening to, I got 10 station channels that I curate. I break shit every fucking week. I've been playing like Lord Jamar shit, man, on my shit the last dozen years, man. In the 18 different collabs that he been involved with. I did Sadat's. He ain't seen this shit yet. I'm gonna show you on the show. I mean, he might reject it, but his album cover work.
You drew that?
Can't Stop the God. It's the name of his album.
That's what's
So
up.
I got some embellishing it up. So I mean, this is the only shit I do. I'm not gonna sit around and just like listen to Pharaoh Sanders and shit for a break, and then I'm gonna go and get me some some hors d'oeuvres and the fucking I live and breathe this shit, man. This shit is giving me the opportunity to give opportunity, man. This is what I fucking do. I do my art, the other half, and the other half is I do the music, which is hip hop and rap music. Somebody asked the question, do I read these books?
Yeah, that's what somebody asked. Yeah, did you read all those books?
You damn right. They're not wallpaper. This is one of 7 libraries I have, and most of my books are all music, few sports, bios, or whatever. But I only get books that are embedded in the history of culture and music.
And that's the DVD wall behind you, yes?
Yeah, that's the DVD wall, which I rarely now pull shit out because I took.
Is there kung fu?
Stream
Kung
shit
fu
now, right?
No, I'm not. I know kung fu, man. I'm not in that. I'm not a fighter, baby. All my crew, they martial artists. They watch that kung fu shit. All that, Yeah, I'm like, nah. We be on the bus shit, man. They been watching the same shit for 30 years.
I will still watch 5 Deadly Venoms.
Damn right.
And Kid with the Golden Arm, like I've never seen it before. I will watch that tonight.
Man.
I'm watching no Deadly Venoms. Zero. I watch Bruce Lee is and Jim Kelly. They the intro to me. And then I quickly exit that door. I'll be like, yeah, okay, that's cool. That shit's like.
Yeah, I never got fanatical with it. It was all right. I watched it on Saturdays, but it was
yeah,
I was fanatical with it.
To each their own. No kung fu up there, Godfrey, but it's all music. There's some films up there, but then in the time where I put all these shits right on this fucking hard drives, man, and it took me 3 or 4. It took me 3 or 4 months to just take and knock these down the FLVs and other.
Just said 5 Deadly Venoms is classic.
All right. 15 minutes.
Hard drives, right? Before I go.
Yes.
This shit is probably the craziest shit ever, right? And I'm not talking about cloud. I just showed you a hard drive, right? But now this shit is getting so crazy. This 256 gig on a flash drive now.
Wow, 256 gigs?
256 fucking gigs, man.
Get the fuck out of here. Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah, remember you had to have the big ass G-Raid, and then you got what was the orange hard drive, the lacy rugged now flash drives.
Flash drive, 256 gig.
That's
from
nuts.
Micro Center out on Long Island. So that's if you want to find out where it was at, that's where it was.
Now I was thinking that at one point that it was gonna go from CDs to the flash drives. Seemed like it didn't necessarily take off like that, where people would put their full album on a flash drive and
yeah.
I mean that commerce part of it, they kind of skipped that and just went straight to the streaming,
the
downloads and all that.
But look what happened when the grid went down in Texas, man. Nothing.
Right.
I don't never do shameful plugs. I don't do plugs at all. That's why I don't never. But this is a pride for me. What you gonna do when the grid goes down? Last year, lasting for like it probably lasts till next year, whatever. And George Clinton blessed us. We premiere with State of the Union last year. We wanted to make a statement to get 45 out. Daddy-O from Stet. Fight the Power remix would have Nas and Rhapsody and Black.
Yeah, that was dope. That was dope.
Yeah.
Smash the Crowd was Coming to America 2 and with Ice-T and PMD. So these things, I mean, we blessed, man. And so what you're going to do when the grid goes down was addressing the fact that if you too embraced with this technology and you don't have no rudimentary skills on how to exist, if you ain't on the grid at all,
right?
How to knock down some of the panic, and the panic is most evident. The more that we rely on these machines, the more we rely on AI, the more we go into being really reliant on every aspect. It's something to think about, and it's a really crossroads right about now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll leave on this note, and I know I've been saying it for a minute, but I definitely will. These things are for my generation, these things are probably the best thing ever if you actually know what they are. Me, I couldn't wait for this day to come in technology. Y'all probably remember a time if you were in the studio, you making a mix, or you got artwork. What's the next thing you have to do? Oh, we gotta FedEx the mix, or we gotta FedEx the artwork, or we gotta make the Xerox copy of the artwork.
Come and da 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 da. And
yeah, so you gotta wait.
You wait for a lot of shit.
Yep, DHL delivery and shit. You waiting for it. So I wait. This online thing, I relished it. Where the issue comes in is like when you use this for a toy and when you use it as a tool. Now, of course, it's me. I'm OG, man. This shit is a fucking tool. Yeah, it's a toy, but I know my toys, but I know this shit is a tool. It's how I get my whole shit operating, my business running. I could do it, all that, and also I have fun with it, whatever. Kids been having these shit since they fucking zero out the cradle right now. So your first 15 to 16 years, this shit is nothing but a toy. Nothing but a toy. It's a toy, really. Communication and all that. They got the biggest problem. How to wean themselves from it being 100% a toy into now growing up and it being 100% or at least 60% a tool, or when to go back and forth. We already seen that with virtual teaching during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Kids couldn't go to school. For the first time, they had to do online teaching. So you getting complaints from kids who can't get away from the screen. They used to do their recreation through the screen. Now it's like, oh, you guys sit with your teacher for 3 hours with the screen. So there's going to be some crazy different rebellions going on about the screen, but still being connected and raging inside and engaging inside the screen. They got a harder time to go at this than we do, which basically say, oh, this shit ain't fucking working. All right, I guess I might as well do something else with my time. They got kind of, this shit ain't working. Now what do I do? So we could be helpful in that before we fade out and transition. The next generations are looking basically at the screens as they attachment.
Mm-hmm. Big facts. Yo, Chuck.
Yeah.
This has been super classic. Man, I thank you so much for joining us. Anything you want to leave the people with? Any projects you want to let them know about, or where to check you at?
I only do Twitter personally. And that's at Mr. Chuck D. My daughter runs my operation social media thing, so she got me on Instagram, which I never ever will be on personally. But that's Mr. Chuck D _PE, and it's about just trying to give as many situations like you go to Rap Station, you go to And You Don't Stop and you at underscore and you don't stop on Twitter, but you catch us on Mixcloud, all the formats, soon to be on all the formats.
You said underscore Mr. PE or just underscore PE? Mr. Chuck D underscore PE.
Yeah, underscore PE.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm over at Rap Station doing my thing and playing that, Lord Jamar music and playing that Rod Digger music to this moment.
Yeah.
And not really playing it. It ain't on like this loop thing. I'm like announcing shit. Because rotation is when they keep playing it online, flotation, spreading the links around. So
That's
you
right.
do something once, but you spread the links around as much as possible. That's flotation. So that's what I do a lot. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get this ring up out of my face. I'm gonna close the laptop down. Session.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legend Chuck D. Thank you, King. Peace.
Anytime. Hey, Rob, hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I made it. I
lasted.
You
You did it, Rob.
Get some rest. Drink your water. Water's your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Godfrey, next time I see you, don't smack me up like you did at SiriusXM.
Yo, man, you better answer your phone, boy. You the worst.
Oh, I don't answer phones. I just
okay, good. You're Chuck D. You don't need to answer shit.
No. I do, but send me a text.
You remember, Chad Zumach, the white dude from Cleveland?
I know Chad. Yes.
He loves you, man. He's like, Chuck D is the greatest, man. Chuck D is the greatest.
Chad's good people, man.
Good people. That's my man.
Lord Jamar made sure that I paid my Lord Jamar dues.
Yes.
That's you.
Thank you, my brother.
Motherfuckers, they throwing slime at me now because I said I got to push you back in the line because Lord Jamar moves up and rap.
Hey, they'll understand. Like I said, I've been waiting since '89. They'll get over it.
Fraternity, sorority, man. Those that have graced the mic, man. Everybody want to be a ball player and a rapper, but you know what? When you grace that fucking mic, you get priority.
You're an initiate. You have become an initiate, and there's certain initiates there's different levels to this shit. You see what I'm saying? Just like within the Masons or whatever, there's different levels to that. There's basic motherfuckers, but then there's that higher level inner
boys
circle.
And what's proven? You know what's proven? You can't buy your way into it. I'm out, y'all.
That's right.
And so is Lord Jamar.
Out. Peace.
Bye, guys. Oh, he has to put the Yanadameen music on. Hey, look at it. It's just us. Wait for
Hey, how you doing, Rod? You
I'm
last
good, man. I'm good.
I don't know what happened. I hit some shit and it
No, you don't understand. Outside of this little box here, I'm all down here like.
I saw you good at sitting still, boy.
Shit.
Well, oh man, I didn't mean to leave it off like that, but
well, cool, man. So,
hey,
yeah, I was just waiting for you to come back so you can put from the Yanadameen Godcast. I'm Lord Jamar, Digga Peace music on.
Yes, okay, yeah, because I see you scratching in your 8-ball salt and pepper.
I've been scratching the last fucking 2 hours. I don't know.
Good.
Yo, I thank everybody that subscribed here on Patreon. Shout out to everybody. krs-one, Prince Weiser. I see in the chat. I see Leah Miss Ravioli, Leah Sawyer. I don't know how you got in here.
Is this I was about to say, was this our Patreon bunch? Because I only see like 2 specific
Yeah, that's
names.
what I'm saying. Some people look like they're on the unlisted YouTube. I don't know how they slickly did that. Explain that to me, Leah. But yeah, you might as well go ahead and subscribe. But yeah, anyway, listen, we appreciate y'all coming. This was a legendary interview. We're not gonna keep Digga any longer, or Godfrey. It's fucking 1 a.m, y'all. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. So once again, we're Yanadameen Godcast. I am Lord Jamar.
I'm Digga.
Godfrey.
Thank you to our guests, Chuck D.
Peace.
And thank you to you for joining us.
Peace.
Hey.